Five-colored thunder light resonated with the rhythm inside Qin Feng's body, faintly outlining the phantom contours of the heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys. The thunder light cycled repeatedly, eventually merging back into Qin Feng's body like 100 rivers returning to the sea, disappearing from sight. Qin Feng's aura became increasingly solid and harmonious during this process. What is that again? In front of the Supreme Pontiff Palace, Bibi Dong's brow was tightly furrowed. She was well read, yet she had never seen such a strange cultivation scene. It seems to be an extremely profound body tempering secret method. The mountain forest. Tang San's pupils suddenly constricted. That looks like the 5 qi converging to the origin, internal refining of the organs. He truly has mastered the orthodox cultivation methods of the Taoist school. Little San, what did you say? What Taoist school? Tang Hao suddenly turned his head, looking at Tang San with a face full of confusion. In this world, there was no concept of the Taoist school. Tang San's heart skipped a beat. Knowing he had misspoken, he quickly covered it up. No, it's nothing. Father, I once saw a similar description in an ancient book, saying it was an ancient body tempering technique that could strengthen internal organs and stabilize the foundation. Seeing the 5-colored light on Qin Feng's body corresponding to the 5 organs just now, I suddenly remembered it. Tang Hao was half doubting Tang San's fabricated explanation. That bastard is so strange, it must be related to the ancient secret method he has mastered. Tang San nodded slightly, feeling even more fear in his heart. He was practicing the mysterious heaven skill and knew well that it helped increase the speed of spirit power cultivation. The mysterious heaven skill was evolved based on Taoist techniques. But what Qin Feng practiced seemed to be some kind of authentic Taoist technique, even superior to his mysterious heaven skill. Although Qin Feng could rely on devouring the source power of thunder to strengthen himself, that mysterious technique would certainly bring immense help as well. Moreover, the help it provided to Qin Feng was tangibly manifested and displayed before everyone. Looking at Qin Feng in the light screen, Tang San's eyes were full of jealousy, and he felt a deep sense of powerlessness. In the light screen, Qin Feng slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air and then opened his eyes. An aura deeper and more reserved than before, yet even more heart-palpitating, spread out. 5 thunder body refining, the 3rd stage is finally complete. Qin Feng thought to himself, feeling the 5 thunder cores settled within his 5 internal organs. The 5 thunder cores rotated slowly, continuously emitting pure 5 elements thunder chi, blending seamlessly with his spirit power. Next, he could practice the 4th stage of the 5 thunder correct law, thunder true astral chi. This was a crucial stage. After reaching completion, the 5 elements thunder chi within the body would completely fuse with spirit power and innate one chi, qualitatively transforming into a higher level of energy, thunder true astral chi. The true astral chi possessed both the destructive characteristics of thunder and the plasticity of energy, capable of forming thunder astral armor for protection or releasing thunder astral sword chi to injure enemies. At that time, attack power, defensive power, and speed would be comprehensively improved. Furthermore, it could maintain the thunder power in a low consumption state for a long time. Qin Feng stood up, preparing to leave this wasteland of scorched earth. Suddenly, a strong fluctuation of spirit power rudely burst into his range of perception. This spirit power fluctuation was scorching, explosive, and full of power, giving him a familiar feeling. It was mixed with a hint of overbearing charm that shared the same origin as Tang Hao's, yet was different. This spirit power fluctuation was even stronger than when Yu Luomian appeared, clearly belonging to a powerhouse of the titled Duluo level. Someone from the Clear Sky sect. Seems to be a fire user. Another one coming to his death. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth curled into a cold arc. A blue-gold light flashed at his right leg, and his figure vanished into thin air. In the next instant, he appeared 100 meters high in the sky. Qin Feng stepped on the void, his robes fluttering, quietly suspended there as he calmly looked in the direction of the newcomer. Before long, in the distant sky, a red dot rapidly enlarged, like a meteor falling to the ground, whistling as it arrived with a boom that scorched the air. In the air 100 meters away from Qin Feng, the red light suddenly stopped, revealing a figure. It was a tall and burly old man. His features were coarse, his eyes bright like 2 clumps of burning flames, and he wore simple gray martial attire, yet it could not hide the scorching and violent aura that blew toward one. Most striking was the giant hammer he held in his hand. The hammer was dark red all over, and instead of the complex patterns common to the clear sky hammer, it was covered in blazing flames. As the flames rose, the surrounding air distorted, and the high temperature caused the trees below to quickly turn yellow and scorched. The old man also stepped on the void, facing Qin Feng from a distance, his violent and scorching spirit power continuously rising like a volcano brewing before an eruption. Outside the light screen, those well-informed spirit masters recognized the old man. That's a fire attribute clear sky hammer. The seventh elder of the clear sky sect. Blazing Sun Duluo. Blazing Sun Duluo actually made a move, and he found Qin Feng. Spirit Hall, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, and all the powers watching this place instantly tensed up. Qin Feng, who had just completed his breakthrough and possessed unpredictable strength, was facing the overbearing fire attribute Blazing Sun Duluo of the Clear Sky sect. This duel would be even more tragic than the previous ones. Qin Feng looked at the burning flame hammer, feeling the other's undisguised killing intent, and his gaze instantly turned cold. You are from the Clear Sky sect. Also here for the spirit bones on me. HMPH. Since you know, why don't you obediently accept your death? Blazing Sun Duluo's red pupils locked onto Qin Feng, his voice rolling like muffled thunder. Even though he had personally witnessed Qin Feng playing with Tang Hao and killing Yu Luomian's group of 8, he was not afraid in the slightest. In his eyes, Tang Hao was just a dog with a broken back, and Yu Luomian was only a spirit Duluo, incomparable to him. Originally, Qin Feng only had 100,000-year thunder attribute spirit bone. But now, he had 2 more 100,000-year spirit bones on him. 300,000-year spirit bones, the temptation was truly too great. Since he had found him, he could not miss the opportunity. Feeling the other's greed, Qin Feng sneered disdainfully. You reckless old dog, didn't you see how Yu Luomian and the others died? To think you still dare to provoke me. Following the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, your Clear Sky sect will also face the disaster of extermination. Chapter 50. Destroying the Clear Sky sect, starting with you. The voice from the light screen clearly reached the ears of every observer. Following the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, your Clear Sky sect will also face annihilation. As the words fell, the whole world was shocked. In front of the Supreme Pontiff Palace of Spirit Hall, Bibi Dong's fingers lightly tapped the armrest of her scepter, a meaningful smile curling at the corners of her mouth. Qin Feng, you truly are arrogant. Since you can unscrupulously devour the power of thunder and suppress those Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit Masters, it isn't impossible for you to destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. But now, you actually dare to claim you will destroy the Clear Sky sect. This is getting more and more interesting. Thinking of this, Bibi Dong turned her gaze toward the enshrinement hall. Qian Daoliu, you coward, do you see this? Your son died because of the Clear Sky sect, yet you let them go. Someone is doing what you didn't dare to do. Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. Hearing Qin Feng's arrogant remarks, the flames of anger ignited once more in Yu Yuanzhen's eyes. Qin Feng's words were like rubbing salt into his wounds. What an arrogant scoundrel. First you insulted my Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, and now you don't even respect the Clear Sky sect. This time, your opponent has no thunder power for you to devour. I want to see how you'll break through. In the mountain forest. Boom. A terrifying murderous aura erupted from Tang Hao's body. Under the impact of this murderous aura, the surrounding trees exploded one after another. You arrogant brat who doesn't know the meaning of death. Tang Hao's eyes were blood red, and the clear sky hammer was already in his hand. A mere 4-ring spirit ancestor dares to claim he'll destroy my Clear Sky sect. If I weren't injured, I would have hammered you into mincemeat last time. Tang San's expression also changed drastically, but a trace of unease faintly stirred in his heart. Qin Feng was too confident. That confidence wasn't bluster, but a composure built on the foundation of absolute strength. Father, calm down. Don't let your anger harm your body. Tang San hurriedly advised. He knew his father was heavily injured and couldn't afford to get angry. Tang Hao roared. That bastard is just relying on his bizarre devouring ability. If he encounters an opponent with a countering attribute, he'll definitely die. Tang San took the opportunity to change the subject. Father, who is that old man? Is his Clear Sky hammer fire attributed? He is a first-generation disciple of the Clear Sky sect, the 7th elder, Blazing Sun Duluo. His spirit power should be around level 92. That is a mutated fire attribute Clear Sky hammer. Tang San nodded slightly, his heart feeling a bit more at ease. The fire attribute wasn't countered by the thunder attribute and possessed powerful destructive force. Tang Hao continued to explain. The Clear Sky sect originally had 7 elders, but now only 5 remain, all of whom are titled Duluo level experts. The sect master is your uncle, and his spirit power is above level 95. That bastard Qin Feng has no idea of the Clear Sky sect's true strength, yet he dares to speak such nonsense. I never expected the Clear Sky sect to have such deep roots. No wonder it's called the world's #1 sect. It was all built by your great-grandfather's hard work. If your great-grandfather were still here, the Clear Sky sect wouldn't have fallen to this state. As Tang Hao spoke, a hint of sorrow flashed in his eyes. He was a sinner of the Clear Sky sect, its decline was inextricably linked to him. When the old sect master Tang Chen was alive, he held him in high regard. If Tang Chen were still around, even if Spirit Hall knew N.A.N. was a spirit beast transformed into a human, they wouldn't have dared to trouble them. Thinking of N.A.N., Tang Hao felt another pang of sharp pain in his heart. Damn it! Tang Hao smashed a fist into the boulder beside him, and the boulder shattered with a bang. He stared fixedly at the light screen, his eyes full of killing intent. 7th Elder, kill him. You must kill him. Tilde. Stardo Great Forest. A figure was shuttling through the dense forest at an incredible speed. It was the current sect master of the Clear Sky sect, Tang Xiao. Tang Xiao also heard Qin Feng's arrogant claim that the Clear Sky sect will also face annihilation. That damned arrogant scoundrel. Qin Feng, first you destroyed N.A.N., and then you insulted my sect. If I don't grind your bones to ash, I, Tang Xiao, am not worthy of being the Clear Sky sect master. Tang Xiao pushed his speed to the limit. He knew that Qin Feng was somewhere in this forest. He had to arrive before the battle between the 7th Elder and Qin Feng ended. Regardless of who won or lost, he had to ensure Qin Feng's death and reclaim N.A.N.'s spirit bone. Tang Xiao also knew very well that the potential Qin Feng displayed was too terrifying. If he were allowed to grow, he would surely become a great threat to the Clear Sky sect in the future. Today, this youth must be strangled in the cradle. Within the light screen. Annihilation. Ha ha ha. Blazing Sun Duluo laughed out of extreme anger, his laughter filled with mockery and killing intent. Ignorant child, do you think that because you luckily killed a few blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit masters, you can contend with my Clear Sky sect? As he spoke, the clear sky hammer in his hand shook violently, and raging flames soared into the sky as the surrounding temperature rose sharply. Today, I'll let you witness the power of the world's #1 tool spirit. I will smash you into mincemeat. Qin Feng hovered in the air, his robes fluttering in the heat waves, yet his expression remained calm. The clear sky hammer. It's nothing special. Even Tang Hao couldn't kill me, let alone you. Tang Hao. Hearing that name, the flames in Blazing Sun Duluo's eyes almost erupted. Tang Hao years ago provoked Spirit Hall, leading to the Clear Sky sect being besieged by them. His eldest son died in that great war. For this matter, he had always held a grudge. While he hated Spirit Hall, he also loathed Tang Hao. That fool Tang Hao, whose head was clouded by anger over a woman, was injured, which allowed you to luckily escape. You could devour the thunder power on his clear sky hammer, but my clear sky hammer is fire attributed. Today, I will surely burn you to ashes. So what if it's fire attributed? Destroying the clear sky sect starts with you. Courting death. The two said no more and entered almost simultaneously. A terrifying surge of spirit power erupted from Blazing Sun Duluo's body. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black, 9 spirit rings wreathed his feet in succession, circling the clear sky hammer in his hand. The dark red giant hammer swelled in the wind, transforming into a flaming giant hammer dozens of meters long in an instant. Raging flames burned upon the hammer's body. The surrounding air warped and distorted under the high temperature. The forest below began to spontaneously combust, and billowing thick smoke soared into the sky. The pressure of a tidal Duluo was released without reservation, and the entire space seemed to be vibrating. With the clear sky hammer in hand, Blazing Sun Duluo was confident that his strength surpassed other titled Duluo of the same level. However, facing such power, Qin Feng merely raised his hand gently. The thunderclap hell vine spirit quietly emerged. Purple gold vines unfurled behind him. Immediately after, 4 spirit rings unfolded in sequence. Black, 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 dark red. The moment that dark red 4th spirit ring appeared, a terrifying aura erupted with a bang. Although there were only 4 spirit rings, But at this moment, the aura Qin Feng emitted actually contended equally with the titled Du Luo opposite him, and even showed signs of surpassing it. Chapter 51. The Power of Five Thunders Strike the Top. Blazing Sun Du Luo's pupils constricted slightly. He felt the terrifying energy contained within Qin Feng's spirit rings. Especially that fourth spirit ring, the destructive aura radiating from it made even him, a titled Du Luo, feel palpitations. Make your move, old dog. Qin Feng spoke indifferently. As his voice fell, the battle erupted instantly. Seventh spirit ability, Clear Sky Avatar. Blazing Sun Du Luo did not hesitate, directly activating his martial soul true body. He knew well of Qin Feng's strangeness and dared not be the slightest bit careless. He went all out from the start. The clear sky hammer expanded violently once more, transforming into a giant flaming hammer 30 meters long. All of Blazing Sun Du Luo's attributes surged. Boom. The giant hammer tore through the sky, carrying a terrifying high temperature capable of incinerating all things as it smashed down ruthlessly toward Qin Feng. This strike was unstoppable by anyone below the level of a titled Du Luo. A light flashed and vanished at Qin Feng's left leg. The teleportation skill was activated. In the next instant, his figure appeared 100 meters high in the sky, directly above Blazing Sun Du Luo. Looking down at the massive flaming clear sky hammer below, a cold glint flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. The dark red fourth spirit ring suddenly lit up. Fourth spirit ability, Five Thunders Strike the Top. Red, yellow, green, gold, and blue, five colored thunder light burst forth from Qin Feng's body, rapidly merging. Metal generates water, water generates wood, wood generates fire, fire generates earth, earth generates metal. The five elements cycled, mutually generating and merging. The five-colored thunder light completed its fusion in an instant, turning into a pillar of lightning over 5 meters in diameter. Contained within that lightning pillar was the power of annihilation produced by the mutual generation and overcoming of the five elements lightning. Qin Feng pointed his finger downward. Boom. The lightning pillar, like a sword of heavenly punishment, pierced through heaven and earth, crashing ruthlessly down onto the flaming clear sky hammer below. Blazing Sun Du Luo was greatly shocked. He felt the terrifying power contained within that lightning pillar. That wasn't a simple lightning attribute attack, but a higher level of destructive power. In his desperation, Blazing Sun Du Luo immediately activated his fifth spirit ability, Clear Sky Protection. Blazing fire soared into the sky. A phantom of the clear sky hammer flickered, emitting an indestructible aura. As the world's #1 tool spirit, the clear sky hammer's defense was peerless. But a scene that shocked everyone appeared. The crimson light was instantly dispersed. The five elements cycle breaks all laws. Blazing Sun Du Luo's defense was greatly diminished before the five elements lightning. Blazing Sun Du Luo turned pale with fright. But he no longer had time to change his move. Bang! The lightning pillar smashed violently into the clear sky hammer. Terrifying power exploded. Boom! A massive shockwave rippled out in all directions from the point of impact. On the ground below, within a 100-meter radius, all trees and rocks were instantly turned to dust by the shockwave. The ground was forcibly pressed into a huge crater 100 meters in diameter and over 10 meters deep. Under this terrifying force, Blazing Sun Du Luo was smashed into the ground like a meteor. Thud! A deafening roar echoed across the wilderness. Smoke and dust rose into the air, obscuring the sky. Outside the light screen, everyone held their breath. The dust settled. At the bottom of the deep pit, Blazing Sun Du Luo was kneeling on one knee, the clear sky hammer in his hand having returned to its normal size, the flames on the hammer had significantly dimmed. His clothes were torn in many places, his hair stood on end, and a trickle of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Most shocking was his right hand holding the clear sky hammer, the webbing between his thumb and forefinger had split open, and blood flowed down his arm, dripping onto the ground. Cough, cough. Blazing Sun Du Luo coughed up several mouthfuls of blood, his eyes filled with disbelief. One move. With just one move, he had been wounded by Qin Feng. Although the opponent had used the 100,000-year Spirit Bones teleportation skill to catch him off guard, the power of that lightning attack was also far beyond his imagination. That lightning power is actually so terrifying. Blazing Sun Du Luo was horrified. He could feel that the lightning power invading his body was extremely strange. It was not only damaging his meridians but also continuously devouring the fire attribute spirit power in his body. Had it not been for his profound cultivation and timely suppression with spirit power, he might have already lost his combat capability. Outside the light screen, there was a dead silence. Everyone had felt the fearsomeness of Qin Feng's fourth spirit ability. In the mountain forest, Tang Hao's eyes widened, his face full of disbelief. The seventh elder was actually injured. Tang San's face was also pale, the unease in his heart growing stronger and stronger. He practiced the mysterious heaven skill and had an understanding of energy attributes far beyond ordinary people. He could feel that within Qin Feng's lightning attack, there were the principles of the five elements' mutual generation and overcoming. In this way, even if the seventh elder's clear sky hammer possessed the fire attribute, it would still be countered. At this moment, Tang San also had to admit Qin Feng's strength. Damn it. Qin Feng is already this powerful with only 4 spirit rings. If he obtains more, what will happen? When will I be able to avenge my mother and Xiao Wu? A deep sense of powerlessness enveloped Tang San, nearly suffocating him. Inside the light screen. At the bottom of the pit, Blazing Sun Duluo wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He stared at the purple gold figure in the sky, the contempt in his eyes gone, replaced by an unprecedented solemnity. Good. Very good. Blazing Sun Duluo said each word deliberately. To be able to wound this old man, you have enough to be proud of. But next, you won't have another opportunity like that. The clear sky hammer once again ignited with a raging fire. The 8th spirit ring suddenly lit up. 8th spirit ability, raging fire incinerating the heavens. Boom. With Blazing Sun Duluo as the center, dark red flames soared into the sky, instantly covering a radius of several hundred meters. The sky was reflected in a dark red, as if doomsday had arrived. Flame domain. This was Blazing Sun Duluo's strongest area of effect spirit ability. Within this domain, the power of all fire attribute attacks increased by 50%, and the enemy's spirit power consumption increased by 30%. The high temperature within the domain was enough to melt steel. An ordinary spirit master entering it would turn to ash in an instant. Qin Feng, within this flame domain, I'll see how you can still be so arrogant. Blazing Sun Duluo grinned hideously. In the sky, Qin Feng felt the rapidly rising temperature around him, yet his expression remained calm. Flame domain. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. As his voice fell, the 5 thunder cores within Qin Feng's body lit up simultaneously. Heart belongs to fire, liver belongs to wood, spleen belongs to earth, lungs belong to metal, kidneys belong to water. The 5 elements thunder cores cycled, constructing a perfect 5 elements loop within his body. The external fire attribute energy tried to invade his body, but was easily neutralized, absorbed, and transformed by the 5 elements loop. This was the mystery of the 3rd stage of 5 thunder body refining's completion. 5 organs thunder containment, the 5 elements self-circulate, immune to all laws. The flame domain was as good as non-existent before Qin Feng. How is this possible? Blazing Sun Duluo was shocked once again. He clearly felt that Qin Feng was like a fish in water within the flame domain, not affected in the slightest. He even vaguely felt that the fire attribute energy within his own domain was being devoured and absorbed by Qin Feng. You are nothing more than this. Qin Feng spoke indifferently. He raised his right hand, pointing his index finger toward the sky. This time, he did not use a spirit ability, but instead mobilized the power of the 5 thunder correct law. Chapter 52. Killing the Blazing Sun Duluo, facing Tang Xiao. The 5 thunder cores inside his body vibrated simultaneously, and 5 elements thunder chi surged out, condensing at Qin Feng's fingertips. The red, yellow, green, gold, and blue 5-colored thunder light reappeared. But this time, they did not fuse. Instead, they turned into 5 bolts of lightning of different colors, rotating around Qin Feng's fingertips. Go! Qin Feng pointed his finger downward. The 5 bolts of lightning were like 5 thunder dragons, roaring as they charged toward the Blazing Sun Duluo. The 5 thunders echoed each other, their power multiplying. This was precisely the 5 elements thunder array from the 5 thunder correct law. The Blazing Sun Duluo's expression changed drastically. He could feel the terror of these 5 bolts of lightning. His 9th spirit ring suddenly flashed brightly. At this critical moment of life and death, the Blazing Sun Duluo held nothing back and directly activated his strongest spirit ability. This strike consumed a massive amount of spirit power, and its power reached the peak of his life. Boom! The flaming clear sky hammer soared into the sky, transforming into a dark red sphere over 50 meters in diameter. In the center of the sphere, the Blazing Sun Duluo's figure was faintly visible, seemingly reaching the realm of man and hammer as one. This was his ultimate strike, burning spirit power to erupt with strength beyond his own limits. The dark red sphere, carrying the momentum to destroy everything, met those 5 streaks of thunder light. Rumble. The heavens and earth lost their color. The moment the 5-colored thunder light collided with the dark red sphere, the entire light screen was submerged in blinding light. A terrifying shockwave swept across several miles, the earth cracked, rocks collapsed, and the entire area felt as if it had undergone a massive earthquake. The light gradually dissipated, and the light screen became clear again. In the image, that area had completely turned into ruins. In the center of the ruins, the blazing sun Duluo knelt on one knee, the flaming clear sky hammer in his hand was now dim and lusterless, its body covered in cracks. His clothes were almost entirely shredded, revealing scorched skin, and he was bleeding from all 7 orifices. Cough, cough, cough. The blazing sun Duluo struggled to lift his head, looking at the figure still standing tall in the sky. Qin Feng hovered in the air, his robes fluttering, his expression calm, seemingly not much affected. The difference in their strength was immediately clear. Why? The blazing sun Duluo's voice was hoarse. You clearly only have 4 spirit rings, why? You are already a dying man, there is no need to know more. Qin Feng descended slowly, looking at the blazing sun Duluo with cold eyes. At this moment, the blazing sun Duluo was like a candle flickering in the wind, a casual wave of the hand could completely wipe him out. Suddenly, a strong surge of spirit power rapidly approached. Cough cough. Tang Xiao is here. The blazing sun Duluo coughed up blood, a strange smile appearing on his face. You think you can kill me? HMPH. You won't escape. Qin Feng looked up ahead, his expression unchanged. Tang Xiao, just in time. I'll send you on your way first. As he spoke, Qin Feng raised his hand, thunder light gathering at his fingertips. However, just as he was prepared to deliver the final blow to the blazing sun Duluo. How dare you? A roar came from the distance, like a clap of thunder. Immediately after, a black shadow tore through the air at a terrifying speed, crossing several thousand meters in an instant to appear above the battlefield. It was a massive black clear sky hammer. 9 spirit rings encircled the hammer's body. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black. The clear sky hammer, carrying the power to destroy heaven and earth, smashed down toward Qin Feng without warning. This strike was even more terrifying than the blazing sun Duluo's solar fall. The newcomer was none other than the clear sky sect's sect master, the howling sky Duluo, Tang Xiao. Qin Feng heard the angry shout but did not stop his actions. The 5-colored thunder light at his fingertips condensed into a beam of blinding white light, like a sword of judgment piercing through heaven and earth. No. Tang Xiao's roar was laced with fear and madness. That sun-blotting giant black hammer accelerated its descent, dragging a shrill whistling sound through the air. But Qin Feng's finger had already pointed toward the center of the blazing sun Duluo's forehead. Unwillingness and terror flashed in the blazing sun Duluo's eyes. He Zhong La Zhong Zui seemed to want to say something, but only spat out a final mouthful of bloody froth with a scorched scent. Chew. The white thunder light pierced through his forehead and emerged from the back of his head. The blazing sun Duluo's body stiffened for a moment, and his pupils dilated rapidly. That scorched body fell backward like dry wood, crashing heavily onto the cracked, scorched earth. The clear sky sect's 7th elder, a titled Duluo-level expert, had fallen. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The moment the blazing sun Duluo fell, Tang Xiao's clear sky hammer, carrying 10,000 tons of force, had also smashed down to within 3 feet of Qin Feng's head. Die. Tang Xiao's eyes were nearly splitting with rage. Qin Feng looked up. Facing this strike that was enough to level a small mountain, he did not dodge, but merely raised his left hand gently. With his palm facing upward, his 5 fingers extended naturally. He quietly activated the temporary skill exchanged with emotion points, Invincible Defense. A bizarre scene unfolded. That clear sky hammer, capable of splitting mountains and cracking stones, suddenly came to a halt just 1 foot away from Qin Feng's palm. The blue electric arcs binding the clear sky hammer struggled like living creatures to break free from the hammer, turning into countless tiny electric snakes that frantically surged into the thunderclap hell vine surrounding Qin Feng. Tang Xiao's pupils constricted. He felt the thunder power accumulated on the clear sky hammer draining at an alarming speed. My spirit power is being devoured. The scene of the thunder power of Yu Luomian and the other 7 being frantically devoured by Qin Feng flashed through Tang Xiao's mind, and his face instantly became incredibly grim. Only now did he experience the pain of having his spirit power devoured. He also understood Tang Hao's sense of helplessness. Previously, when Tang Hao faced Qin Feng's defense, he too had been at a loss. He had thought that Tang Hao was injured and unable to exert his full strength. But now, with his rank 96 strength, he was actually unable to break through Qin Feng's defense. One must know, this was the world's #1 tool spirit, the Clear Sky Hammer. In front of the entire world, the Clear Sky sect master, Tang Xiao, had lost all face. He was unable to protect the sect's 7th elder, watching helplessly as Qin Feng killed him. Nor could he break through Qin Feng's defense. A surge of frustration immediately clouded his heart. The thunder light in Qin Feng's palm grew brighter and brighter. It was not just the devoured thunder power, but also his own origin thunder gang from the fusion of the 5 thunder correct law. The red, yellow, green, gold, and blue 5-colored thunder light rotated in his palm, forming a miniature thunder vortex. The center of the vortex was deep darkness, as if leading to another world. Returning it to you. Qin Feng spoke calmly and gave a sudden push with his palm. Boom. A mixed pillar of thunder over 10 meters in diameter soared into the sky, colliding head-on with the Clear Sky Hammer above. Within the thunder pillar, the 5-colored thunder light intertwined and binding, faintly forming a dragon shape and letting out a deafening roar. Tang Xiao's expression changed drastically. He gripped the hammer's handle with both hands, pouring more spirit power into the Clear Sky Hammer. The dark gold patterns on the hammer's surface seemed to come alive, moving across the hammer's body and forming a massive phantom shield. The thunder pillar and the Clear Sky Hammer collided with a bang. Veins bulged on Tang Xiao's forehead. He felt that the Clear Sky Hammer was enduring unprecedented pressure. Even more terrifyingly, the energy within the thunder pillar seemed to merge with the Clear Sky Hammer's own thunder power, disintegrating his defense from the inside. Chapter 53. Clear Sky 9 Absolutes, Tang Xiao's defeat. How is this possible? Damn it! Stormy waves surged in Tang Xiao's heart. The power of lightning combined with the overbearing strength of the Clear Sky Hammer was practically invincible. Yet the young man before him had not only easily devoured his lightning power but could even convert it for his own use, taking it a step further. The 5-colored thunder light within the pillar of lightning began to merge, gradually transforming into a silvery white. That silvery white lightning appeared peaceful, yet it contained the power of destruction. Tang Xiao felt a mixture of frustration and horror. But he was, after all, a sect master and a rank 96 peak Dulua with incredibly rich combat experience. Seeing that his lightning power was ineffective and was instead becoming the opponent's nourishment, he made a prompt decision and changed his strategy. You think my Clear Sky Hammer only has the power of lightning? Let me show you the power of the Clear Sky 9 Absolutes. Tang Xiao gave a thunderous shout, and his spirit power instantly withdrew into his body. It was no longer the wild external release from before, instead, it condensed into a single point on the head of the hammer. His entire being seemed to merge with the Clear Sky Hammer, emitting a restrained yet lethal edge. The Clear Sky 9 Absolutes was one of the 3 great secret techniques of the Clear Sky sect. Tang Xiao had taken a unique path, merging the 9 force exertion techniques into one, simplifying complexity into essence. Void. The giant hammer seemed slow, but in reality, it traced a profound trajectory with extreme speed. The hammer's shadow seemed to vanish into the void, appearing directly in front of Qin Feng's chest in the next instant, ignoring spatial distance. A look of surprise flashed through Qin Feng's eyes. With a slight movement and a flash of golden light beneath his feet, he appeared 1,000 meters away. However, the hammer's shadow followed him like a ghost, as if it had already predicted his position, staying right on his heels. Seal. The hammer's momentum shifted, and an invisible force field spread out, binding the surrounding space like a swamp and restricting the opponent's movement. Qin Feng felt his surroundings tighten, and his teleportation speed was noticeably delayed. Pierce. Penetrate. Entwine. Tang Xiao's moves were continuous. The hammer shadows were sometimes as solid as a drill, sometimes illusory and ethereal, and sometimes as flexible as silk. Every strike targeted Qin Feng's possible evasion routes, coordinating flawlessly. It brought the heavy, massive, hard, and fierce characteristics of the Clear Sky Hammer to their peak, while also integrating the essence of lightness, skill, softness, and entanglement. However, Qin Feng's reaction exceeded his expectations. Qin Feng's figure moved through the woven net of hammer shadows as unpredictably as a ghost. The invisible barrier formed by invincible defense was not stationary, it flowed with his thoughts, precisely blocking every hammer strike at its most critical point of force, neutralizing the power that was enough to shatter mountains and crack stones layer by layer. What alarmed Tang Xiao even more was that Qin Feng was not merely defending. Every time a hammer strike landed on the invincible defense, the lightning power attached to the hammer would be quickly stripped away, turning into threads of electrical light that were greedily absorbed by the faintly visible purple-gold vines around Qin Feng. The golden patterns on the vines became increasingly clear, emitting the hum of electric arcs. Qin Feng was using his attacks to nourish himself. Shock. Break. Tang Xiao's offensive changed again. The hammer vibrated, emitting a low roar as he attempted to use high-frequency vibrations to disintegrate that strange defense. This was followed by the break character formula, which condensed the dual characteristics of penetration and explosion. A dark light gathered at the tip of the hammer. The golden light beneath Qin Feng's feet flashed brilliantly once more. This time, he teleported directly 1,000 meters away, completely escaping the core range of Tang Xiao's attack. The distance of the teleportation was so great and the speed so fast that all of Tang Xiao's subsequent attacks missed. Tang Xiao's pupils contracted. This kind of teleportation ability had completely exceeded the scope of ordinary spirit abilities, it was practically like a spatial jump. He took a deep breath, suppressing the irritation and shock in his heart. Launching continuous attacks consumed a huge amount of his spirit power. Constantly changing moves to chase Qin Feng's teleportation speed had further intensified the consumption. In contrast, Qin Feng's aura was steady, and he even appeared increasingly profound due to absorbing the lightning power. This couldn't go on. Tang Xiao's eyes grew sharp as he decided to stake everything on one throw. 9 absolutes is 1. This was the kill formula Tang Xiao had created himself. It merged his lifelong understanding of the clear sky hammer, pursuing a certain kill in one strike, never giving the opponent a chance to breathe. Tang Xiao held the hammer with both hands and raised it high. All his spirit power, all his momentum, and all his killing intent were condensed into this one strike. The clear sky hammer emitted heart-palpitating waves of destruction. This strike no longer pursued speed or variation, but instead stacked the ultimate destructive power of the 9 force exertion techniques. Before the hammer even fell, the space around Qin Feng began to warp, and the ground silently sank. Die. With a distorted expression, Tang Xiao poured all his strength into this hammer strike and smashed it down toward Qin Feng's head. This strike was his ultimate blow, which he was confident could break any defense and was enough to kill a rank 97 or even rank 98 titled Duluo. Qin Feng raised his right hand, palm upward, with fingers spread. The light of invincible defense condensed in front of his palm, instantly covering his front. Boom. The clear sky hammer smashed violently into the golden light shield. An earth-shattering explosion occurred, sounding like the roar of 2 stars colliding. Centered on the point of impact, a visible circular shockwave suddenly expanded. Wherever it passed, several meters of the ground were forcibly scraped away. Dust and smoke rose into the sky, forming a massive mushroom cloud. Tang Xiao stared fixedly at the center of the collision, the muscles in his arms bulging as his spirit power output went wild. However, his face gradually turned pale. That golden light shield was actually completely undamaged. Even the purple gold vines attached to the surface of the shield were frantically devouring the lightning power emitted by the clear sky hammer, flowing into his body through the lightning entwined around Qin Feng. The thunderclap hell vine let out a joyful quiver, and the golden patterns on the vines suddenly lit up, leaking wisps of purple gold lightning that made one's soul tremble. How is this possible? Tang Xiao muttered, lost for words, his confidence abruptly collapsing at this moment. His strongest strike had actually failed to break Qin Feng's defense. Just what kind of defense was that? At the moment when Tang Xiao's mind was shaken, his old strength exhausted and his new strength not yet born, Qin Feng moved. He raised his right hand, pointing his fingers like a sword toward the sky. 5 thunders strike the top. There were no fancy techniques or complex formations. The sky suddenly darkened as heavy leaden clouds gathered from all directions. Within the cloud layers, red, yellow, green, gold, and blue lightning flashed and merged wildly, finally turning into a chaotic silver-white. In the next instant, a silver-white pillar of lightning over 3 meters in diameter struck down from the clouds without warning. Carrying a majestic heavenly might, it locked onto Tang Xiao and crashed down. Before the lightning even arrived, that destructive aura already made Tang Xiao's scalp tingle and the hair on his body stand on end. He had just finished unleashing his strongest killing move, and his spirit power was at a low point. Facing this strike that felt like heavenly punishment, he simply didn't have time to gather enough power to resist it again. Clear sky protection. In his haste, Tang Xiao could only hold the clear sky hammer horizontally above his head and inject all his remaining spirit power into it. Boom! The silver-white lightning pillar slammed solidly into the clear sky hammer. The blinding lightning instantly swallowed Tang Xiao's figure. Arg! A shrill scream of agony rang out from within the lightning. Chapter 54, Tang Xiao's Severed Arm. Friends, today's two chapters have been merged into one. The lightning light was like the Milky Way bursting its banks, illuminating the entire battlefield in a deathly pale white. The piercing silvery white light caused the vegetation and rocks within a radius of several miles to lose their original colors. The air was filled with a peculiar scent, a mixture of lightning breath and scorched earth. Tang Xiao's miserable screams sounded exceptionally shrill amidst the roaring thunder, like the final roar of a beast trapped in a desperate situation. The clothing on his right arm turned to fly ash the moment it touched the lightning. Cobweb-like charred cracks appeared on the surface of his skin, with bright red flesh faintly visible beneath the fractures. What was even more terrifying was that the silvery white lightning did not dissipate after wreaking havoc on the surface. Instead, it spread rapidly along the handle of the hammer, penetrating his fingers that tightly gripped the handle and rushing straight into his internal meridians. Arg! Tang Xiao's eyes were wide open, his eyeballs bloodshot, and his pupils constricted sharply due to the intense pain. He frantically circulated the spirit power within his body, forming solid barriers within his meridians in an attempt to block the invasion of this bizarre lightning. But those silvery white lightning bolts seemed to possess a will of their own, crazily attacking his defenses. The silvery white lightning, a fusion of 5 elements, contained a power that Tang Xiao had never felt before. The silvery white lightning, a fusion of 5 elements, contained a power that Tang Xiao had never felt before. It was a new power generated by the fusion of 5 different elemental lightnings: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. It transcended simple addition, forming a complex characteristic that was both violent and treacherous. What kind of lightning is this? How can it be? An indescribable horror welled up in Tang Xiao's heart. Since the day his clear sky hammer awakened, it had possessed the power of lightning. He had dealt with lightning his entire life, but he had never seen such bizarre and difficult lightning power. This was no longer simple natural lightning, it was more like the manifestation of some higher-level law. The intense pain crashed against Tang Xiao's nerves wave after wave, like a tsunami. Every inch of his muscle was twitching uncontrollably. Even more terrifyingly, he felt that his lightning-attributed spirit power, which he had cultivated for many years, was being eroded and assimilated bit by bit by the invading silvery white lightning. The opponent could not only devour his lightning power but could even reversely erode his very origin. At the critical moment of life and death, Tang Xiao suddenly snapped to his senses. The instinct for survival overrode everything else. Disregarding the risk of meridian damage, he forcibly squeezed out one last surge of pure spirit power and retreated violently like an arrow leaving a bowstring. The ground beneath his feet collapsed into a deep pit the moment he kicked off, sending gravel flying in all directions. Tang Xiao's figure pulled out an afterimage in the air, his speed reaching the extreme. He needed to open up distance, even if it was just for a single breath of time, to give him a chance to use his life-saving methods. Thinking of escaping. Qin Feng's voice calmly penetrated the lingering echoes of the lightning and the sonic booms in the air, clearly reaching Tang Xiao's ears. Tang Xiao's hair stood on end, and he was greatly alarmed. He had witnessed Qin Feng's speed before. That bizarre transformed beast possessed the teleportation skill. Although the whole world was watching this battle, Tang Xiao could no longer care about his face. His lightning power was being constantly devoured by Qin Feng. As one side ebbed and the other flowed, he would only grow more exhausted, while Qin Feng would grow stronger and stronger. If the battle continued, he feared he would end up with the same fate as the Seventh Elder. Right now, survival was the most important thing. As long as he escaped this battlefield, there would still be a chance for revenge. Seeing that Tang Xiao wanted to flee, how could Qin Feng possibly let him go? Qin Feng knew that the entire world was observing this battle. Relying on the temporary skill Invincible Defense and 1,000-meter teleportation, as well as the Thunderclap Hellvine's devouring of lightning power, he had firmly suppressed Tang Xiao. Now, the novice protection period had only 15 days left, after which he would be unable to use these powerful temporary skills. Although the 100,000-year left leg bone also had two similar skills, the defense duration of the Paragon Golden Body was only 3 seconds, and the distance for a single teleportation was only 100 meters, which paled in comparison to those two temporary skills. Therefore, he wanted to use this battle to awe the powerhouses of the world, making those who coveted his spirit rings and spirit bones shrink back. In this way, he would have enough time and energy to continue improving his strength. Qin Feng raised his right hand slightly, his fingers curling into a claw-like shape. The purple gold vines that were originally wrapped around him seemed to receive an order and instantly came to life. Dark golden patterns flowed on the surface of those vines, and at this moment, the patterns suddenly lit up, emitting the sound of thunder. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of purple gold light beams shot out from around Qin Feng, letting out sharp hisses as they cut through the air. They traced various bizarre arcs in the air, pursuing Tang Xiao from different angles. Tang Xiao's pupils shrank, and cold sweat instantly drenched his tattered clothes. He could feel that those vines seemed to be faintly locked onto the residual lightning aura within his body. Damn bastard! Tang Xiao cursed inwardly. His spirit power was currently in disarray, and the silvery white lightning was still rampaging inside him. Every bit of spirit power he circulated was accompanied by a tearing pain. His speed inevitably slowed down, and he watched as several purple gold light beams caught up to within 3 zhong behind him. In this desperate situation, a ruthless look flashed in Tang Xiao's eyes. He endured the intense pain, gripped the clear sky hammer with both hands, twisted his waist, and poured all his strength into both arms, violently swinging a semicircle behind him. Get away from me! The clear sky hammer swept out with a shrill whistling sound, and the residual dark blue lightning on the hammer collided with the purple gold vines. A violent vibration force emanated from the hammer, and the air was compressed into ripples visible to the naked eye. Several vines at the forefront were hit head-on by this strike and shattered with a boom. Using the counter-shock force of this strike, Tang Xiao's figure retreated violently once again for more than 10 zhong, temporarily opening up a small distance. His chest heaved violently, and a trace of blood seeped from the corner of his mouth. Forcibly channeling spirit power had caused his internal injuries to worsen further. However, Qin Feng's attack did not stop. Those shattered vines turned into dots of light, and new vines branched out from behind, joining the pursuit. They were like an endless tide, wave after wave, giving Tang Xiao no chance to catch his breath. In the blink of an eye, the new batch of vines had caught up to within 1 zhong behind him. Damn it! Despair welled up in Tang Xiao's heart. He suddenly swung his left hand backward. Spirit power condensed in his palm, turning into a translucent fist shadow that blasted toward the pursuing vines. However, those purple gold vines displayed astonishing flexibility. As if they possessed intelligence, they suddenly dispersed the moment the fist shadow was about to hit them, perfectly avoiding the most fierce core area of the fist shadow's attack. In the next instant, the dispersed vines closed in again from various tricky angles. Sizzle. The tip of the foremost vine darted out like a venomous snake's tongue, touching the sleeve of Tang Xiao's left arm. The moment they made contact, countless fine purple gold electric arcs exploded from the tip of the vine, like thousands of poisoned needles, instantly piercing through his clothes and stabbing into his flesh. Arg! Tang Xiao let out a muffled groan, and his left arm instantly lost all sensation. It was a bizarre feeling, as if his entire arm was being peeled away from his body. His left arm took on an abnormal purple gold color, and fine electric arcs moved beneath his skin like living creatures, spreading toward his shoulder. What terrified Tang Xiao even more was that those purple gold electric arcs were resonating with the silvery white lightning rampaging inside him. The two forces of lightning, one internal and one external, echoed each other. The destructive power of the silvery white lightning suddenly increased by 30% under the guidance of the purple gold electric arcs. Not good. Tang Xiao's heart rate accelerated. Once the numbness invaded his shoulder and spread to his torso, he would completely lose his ability to move and become a lamb to be slaughtered. And at that moment, Qin Feng's figure had silently appeared 100 meters in front of him. The silver-haired youth floated in the air, his calm gaze falling on Tang Xiao, like a hunter examining a prey that had already fallen into a trap. In a flash, countless thoughts crossed Tang Xiao's mind. Escape. In his current state, he couldn't possibly shake off the pursuit of those bizarre vines. Fight. With lightning rampaging inside him and not even 10% of his spirit power remaining, what could he fight with? Beg for mercy. The dignity of the Clear Sky Sect Master would not allow him to do so, and besides, the opponent clearly wouldn't let him go. Then, there was only one choice left. A ruthless determination flashed in Tang Xiao's eyes. Being pushed into a corner, for the sake of survival, everything could be sacrificed. The purple gold vines were like venomous snakes, tightly binding Tang Xiao's left arm and twisting frantically. Tang Xiao suddenly gritted his teeth. The muscles in his left shoulder suddenly bulged, and spirit power frantically condensed and compressed at his shoulder joint. PFFT. A muffled sound. At Tang Xiao's left shoulder joint, blood gushed out like a fountain. His entire arm was forcibly torn away from the joint, and the vines wrapped around it all shattered. Blood drew a tragic and beautiful arc in the air, mixed with bone fragments and bits of flesh, scattering onto the scorched earth. Tang Xiao's face instantly turned as pale as paper, the veins on his forehead bulging like earthworms, his lips bitten through, and blood flowing down the corners of his mouth. But he did not let out a single scream, there was only a heart full of rage. Qin Feng, the humiliation of today, I, Tang Xiao, will remember it. Tang Xiao's voice was like a thunderclap, exploding in the air. The moment his left arm completely detached from his body, his right hand shot out like lightning, grabbed the wrist of that severed arm, and then forcefully threw the severed arm backward. The severed arm tumbled in the air, tracing a bloody path as it met the pursuing purple gold vines. The vines instinctively wrapped around it, instantly enveloping the severed arm in layers. This left arm contained a clear sky sect legacy spirit bone. Tang Xiao guessed that when those purple vines wrapped around his left arm, Qin Feng might have already sensed the existence of this spirit bone. Severing his arm to survive, using the spirit bone to attract Qin Feng's attention and taking the chance to escape the battlefield, was the only way he could think of. Even if it meant losing the sect's legacy spirit bone, he wouldn't hesitate. After all, only by being alive was there hope for revenge. Qin Feng's pursuit indeed stalled for a moment. And in that momentary gap, a look of madness flashed in Tang Xiao's eyes. He gripped the hammer with his right hand and swung it violently. The hammer body suddenly expanded, and dark blue lightning lit up again. Although it was far from being as brilliant as it was at its peak, it condensed all of his will. Boom! The giant hammer smashed toward Qin Feng. Tang Xiao still harbored a glimmer of hope, using the spirit bone as bait to try and kill Qin Feng while he was distracted. Unfortunately, his wish did not come true. A layer of golden light instantly enveloped Qin Feng's body. Even a full-strength strike from Tang Xiao at his peak could not shake the invincible defense, let alone this sneak attack using his residual strength. Tang Xiao knew that regardless of the outcome of this strike, he could not hesitate. Having finally secured a slim chance of survival, he had to escape this battlefield as quickly as possible. Using the counter-shock force of this hammer strike, his figure retreated violently, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Qin Feng floated in the air, his brow slightly raised, and he did not immediately pursue. He felt the presence of that spirit bone. Tang Xiao had severed his arm to live, and his spirit power would drop below rank 90. His current strength was now inferior to Tang Hao and those elders. When the time came, he would go directly to the Clear Sky sect and wipe out his entire family. Qin Feng's eyes moved slightly, and he raised his right hand, making a beckoning motion. The purple gold vines wrapped around the severed arm received the instruction and immediately loosened their restraint, supporting the shriveled and mangled severed arm and slowly delivering it to him. A piece of dark golden bone, about half a foot long and irregularly shaped, was embedded within it, forming a sharp contrast with the surrounding grayish-white arm bone. The surface of that bone had a faint dark golden light flowing on it, exuding a special aura that was as heavy as a mountain and as fierce and domineering as could be. Indeed, it is a spirit bone. Qin Feng extended his right index finger and lightly touched the dark golden bone. The flesh covering the spirit bone was torn open by lightning, and a complete left arm spirit bone was presented before Qin Feng. It was also presented before all the people in the world who were watching the sky screen. The world was shaken. Tilde 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 tilde. Clear Sky Sect. When they saw Tang Xiao severing his arm to survive and blood gushing out, all the elders in the hall were shocked, the color draining from their faces. Sect Master. Grief-stricken and indignant roars echoed in the hall. Several elders' eyes were nearly bursting, their fists clenched so hard they creaked, wishing they could immediately rush into the sky screen and tear that silver-haired youth into 10,000 pieces. Before this, they had already witnessed the seventh elder, the blazing sun Duluo, die tragically at Qin Feng's hands. How could they have imagined that the sect master Tang Xiao, whose spirit power was as high as rank 96, would also suffer a crushing defeat at the hands of Qin Feng? Moreover, he had to sever his arm to survive and flee in a pathetic state. That left arm contained a legacy spirit bone of the Clear Sky sect. That spirit bone of excellent quality had thus fallen into Qin Feng's hands. This scene was witnessed by people all over the world. Not only Tang Xiao, but the entire Clear Sky sect had lost all face. Sky propping left arm bone. The third elder cried out in shock, his voice full of disbelief and towering rage. The hall was deathly silent. Everyone knew what the legacy spirit bone meant to the Clear Sky sect. It was not just a symbol of power, but also one of the cores of the sect's inheritance. And now, this spirit bone was so easily stripped away by Qin Feng, floating in his palm like a trophy being displayed. My Clear Sky sect has actually fallen to this state. The second elder's voice was hoarse, and old tears streamed down his face. Humiliation. This is the greatest humiliation since the founding of the Clear Sky sect. The fifth elder suddenly smashed the stone table beside him, sending fragments flying. The disciples of the Clear Sky sect, looking at Qin Feng's calm face in the sky screen, showed deep apprehension in their eyes. The once mighty Clear Sky Duluo Tang Hao, even after using 100,000-year spirit ability, could not break Qin Feng's defense. The seventh elder Blazing Sun Duluo's Clear Sky Hammer had its own fire attribute, yet he was still suppressed by Qin Feng and died tragically at his hands. Sect Master Tang Xiao, a rank 96 peak Duluo, whose kill character formula from the Clear Sky 9 absolutes was incomparably domineering, was forced to sever his arm to survive, and could not even keep the legacy spirit bone. To what terrifying level had Qin Feng's strength actually reached? Remembering Qin Feng's words about destroying the Clear Sky sect, those young disciples all felt their hair stand on end. Was the Clear Sky sect truly going to face the catastrophe of being wiped out? Chapter 55. Ning Fengji cowers. Looking at the images in the sky, Tang Hao's whole body shook violently, as if he had been struck in the chest by a heavy hammer. He was all too familiar with that dark gold spirit bone. The sky supporting left arm bone. That is the Clear Sky sect's inherited spirit bone. Tang Hao's voice trembled, and his body swayed, nearly collapsing. Dad. Tang San hurriedly stepped forward to support him. Big brother. Tang Hao ignored his son, his eyes fixed intently on the sky screen. Those eyes that once looked down upon the world were now filled with unspeakable pain and despair. A severed left arm, the spirit bone stripped away. This means. Tang Hao's voice choked up. He closed his eyes and forced down the surging emotions in his heart before continuing. A spirit bone fuses with a spirit master. Once forcibly stripped, not only will they lose the corresponding limb, but their spirit power level will also drop. In your eldest uncle's case, it will drop by at least 10 levels. 10 levels. Tang San gasped. A level 96 peak Duluo dropping 10 levels, what did that even mean? It meant Tang Xiao had plummeted from a peak Duluo directly to a spirit Duluo. Combined with the injury of a severed arm, his strength was likely now inferior to even an 8-ring spirit Duluo. Tang Hao shook his head and sighed. The seventh elder has fallen, and Big Brother is heavily injured. Is the Clear Sky sect truly finished? No, not yet. Tang San clenched his fists, his eyes resolute. Although eldest uncle lost an arm, he successfully escaped the battlefield. As long as he's alive, there's still a chance for revenge. He looked at his father, hesitated for a moment, and then asked. Dad, should we go back to the Clear Sky sect first? Eldest uncle. No. Tang Hao interrupted Tang San. I have no face to return now. I am a sinner of the sect. Back then, for your mother's sake, I made an enemy of Spirit Hall. Your grandfather was driven to his death, and the sect went into seclusion. Now, because of N.A.N, Big Brother has been driven into a corner, lost his left arm, and lost the sect's inherited spirit bone. What right do I have to go back? Dad, are you saying eldest uncle was also doing it for mom? That's right. In truth, your eldest uncle also deeply loved your mother. He must have seen your mother being devoured by Qin Feng and her spirit bone being forcibly fused, which is why he came out of seclusion to find him. Tang San was stunned, speechless with surprise. Little San, this is a long story. I'll tell you later. Tang Hao's rough hand pressed on Tang San's shoulder, his sharp eyes gazing at his son. Little San, though your eldest uncle is heavily injured, given his personality, he will never admit defeat. He will surely regroup and look for an opportunity for revenge. I will return in the future, but before then, there are more important things to do. Dad, is there anything I need to do? Over the next month, I will give you special training. I will teach you the true essence of the Clear Sky Hammer. Then, I will send you somewhere. Where? Tang San looked expectant. But Tang Hao shook his head. When it's time for you to know, I'll naturally tell you. Tang San nodded. The father and son turned their gaze back to the sky screen. They forced down the grief in their hearts, wanting to see how Qin Feng would handle that spirit bone. Spirit City, Supreme Pontiff Palace. Bibi Dong had watched the entire scene of the battle between Qin Feng and Tang Xiao. When she saw Tang Xiao's arm severed and his spirit bone stripped, her fingers gripping her scepter tightened unconsciously, her knuckles turning white. The blazing sun Du Luo was killed by Qin Feng. Tang Xiao's arm was severed, and his spirit power dropped below level 90. The Clear Sky sect was already severely weakened due to Spirit Hall's encirclement and suppression. Now, having lost two top combatants at once, its overall strength had declined once more. For Spirit Hall, this should have been a good thing. However, Bibi Dong could not bring herself to be happy. Qin Feng's growth speed was simply too terrifying. In just half a month, from a youth who had undergone human form transformation from a spirit beast to possessing 4 10,000-year spirit rings, he had so easily killed a titled Du Luo level expert and defeated the Clear Sky sect master, Tang Xiao. Such an uncontrollable existence with a growth rate that defied the heavens was far more dangerous than a declining Clear Sky sect. 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Ning Fengji and Chen Xin looked toward the sky, their expressions complex. Uncle Jian, if you were to fight Tang Xiao, what would be the outcome? Chen Xin was silent for a moment before saying solemnly. In a one-on-one duel, Tang Xiao and I should be evenly matched. The Clear Sky hammer is overbearing, and the 7-kill sword is sharp, the outcome would likely be a 50-50 split. Then, what if you fought Qin Feng? Chen Xin shook his head. I can't see through him either. His defense, teleportation, devouring lightning, every one of his abilities exceeds common logic. As for whether he has other hidden abilities, no one knows. Indeed. Ning Fengji sighed softly, a trace of worry flashing in his eyes. Uncle Ji Yu might not necessarily win if he encounters him. I hope Uncle Ji Yu returns to the sect early after seeing his strength clearly. Don't worry, Old Bone is known as the titled Du Luo with the most bizarre attacks. If they really meet, it won't be that easy for him to fall at that kid's hands. Ning Fengji nodded slightly, the worry on his face undiminished. Qin Feng had made a ruthless declaration to wipe out the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan and the Clear Sky sect. Although this youth was arrogant, he also possessed unfathomable strength. Yu Luomian and the Blazing Sun Du Luo, who had plotted to take his spirit bones, both died miserably at his hands. Ning Fengji had also sent Ji Yu Rong to take his spirit bone. Fortunately, Ji Yu Rong had not encountered him yet. After seeing Qin Feng's strength clearly, Ning Fengji was truly unwilling to provoke this demon. If Qin Feng truly went to settle scores with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan and the Clear Sky sect, even if he couldn't destroy those two great sects, he would still deal them a heavy blow. At that time, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School could preserve its strength, reap the benefits of their conflict, and smoothly ascend to the throne of the #1 sect in the world. Therefore, Ning Fengji hoped Ji Yu Rong would return to the sect as soon as possible and not run into Qin Feng. Even if Qin Feng had 300,000-year spirit bones on him, they were not something they could covet. Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. Yu Yuanjun and several elders all had ashen faces. They had personally witnessed the Clear Sky sect's 7th elder, the Blazing Sun Du Luo, being ruthlessly killed by Qin Feng. They watched Tang Xiao's defeat, as he severed his own left arm and sacrificed his spirit bone just to seek a chance at survival. Qin Feng's strength was unfathomable, far exceeding their imagination. He had declared he would destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan and the Clear Sky sect. After his battle with Tang Xiao, no one dared to question his previously seemingly arrogant remarks. One must realize that even if the Clear Sky sect had declined, Tang Xiao was still the strongest person in the sect. Moreover, Tang Xiao's name had long since shaken the continent, as he was a peak Du Luo with spirit power exceeding level 95. Such a top-tier powerhouse had still been beaten into a pathetic flight by Qin Feng. Many of the young disciples of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan were already trembling with fear. Several elders looked at each other and then turned to Yu Yuanjun. Yu Yuanjun forcibly suppressed the tumultuous waves in his heart. There is no need for panic. If he dares to come, I will ensure he never returns. Yu Yuanjun held an ancestral treasure in his hand, the 9-dragon true crown. With this treasure, he could briefly raise the age of his spirit rings to a level infinitely close to the 100,000-year rank. At that time, his strength would experience a brief explosion. This was the source of his confidence. He believed that with the enhancement of the 9-dragon true crown, he would surely be able to kill Qin Feng and avenge Yuluomian. Chapter 56, The 100,000-Year Fifth Ring, heading straight for 9-Dragon Mountain. Meanwhile, across the continent, countless spirit masters and medium to small forces were watching this battle. When they saw the scene of Tang Xiao severing his own arm to escape, everyone was dumbfounded. When they saw that inherited spirit bone being easily stripped away by Qin Feng, everyone gasped even more in shock. The sect master of the Clear Sky sect lost. It's more than just a loss. It's a crushing defeat. He cut off his own arm to survive and even lost his spirit bone. This Qin Feng, what kind of monster is he? Half a month. It's only been half a month since his human form transformation. From now on, who would dare to target him? Those who coveted his spirit rings and spirit bones are probably trembling in their boots right now, aren't they? All sorts of discussions, speculations, fears, and awe spread across the continent like a plague. Qin Feng was currently floating in the air, calmly looking at the dark gold spirit bone in his palm. He seemed to have already seen what kind of stormy waves his battle had stirred up throughout the Duluo continent. Tang Xiao, oh Tang Xiao, for the sake of escaping with your life, you didn't even want your sect's inherited spirit bone anymore. You came for the spirit bone on my body, but ended up losing the one on yours. This is the consequence of overestimating yourself. Feeling the aura within the spirit bone, a trace of a disdainful smile appeared on Qin Feng's face. From a spirit beast with 60 to 70,000 years of cultivation, the quality is still a bit lacking. It's just a piece of trash. Qin Feng's casual remark of, just a piece of trash, exploded like a clap of thunder over the entire Duluo continent. Trash. Inside the Clear Sky sect, the third elder slammed his hand onto the armrest of his seat, his entire face flushing red. That is the left arm bone that has been passed down in our Clear Sky sect for over 100 years. He dares. Arrogant. Too arrogant. The fourth elder was shaking all over with rage. The sect master discarding his arm bone to survive is already a supreme humiliation, and this bastard even dares to insult us like this. The fifth elder was relatively calm, but his eyes were also full of fury. This boy not only has terrifying strength, but his temperament is also cruel and arrogant. Our Clear Sky sect and him are now in a situation where only one of us can live. The four elders looked at each other, and they all saw the resolve in each other's eyes. When had the Clear Sky sect ever suffered such an insult? The debt of the severed arm and the humiliation of the spirit bone must be paid back in blood. Meanwhile, when Tang Hao heard Qin Feng evaluate the spirit bone as trash, fire instantly ignited in his eyes. Trash, the left arm bone Big Brother discarded, is actually trash in his eyes. How can you allow the inherited spirit bone of my Clear Sky sect to be so lightly insulted? Tang Hao clenched his fists, wishing he could charge into the sky screen and fight Qin Feng once more. Dad, don't get angry. Tang San also felt a surge of burning rage. Although he didn't have much feeling for the Clear Sky sect, that was his father's sect after all, and his uncle's sect. That spirit bone held extraordinary significance for the Clear Sky sect. Qin Feng's evaluation was undoubtedly a harsh slap to the faces of all the members of the Clear Sky sect. Tang San knew that his father couldn't get angry, as it would worsen his internal injuries. He wanted to do his best to dissuade his father. But Tang Hao stared fixedly at the light screen, his anger not diminishing in the slightest. In the light screen, Qin Feng put the dark gold spirit bone into his storage space, seemingly not caring about it at all. Then, he sat down cross-legged. A blue gold light emanated from his right leg, quickly enveloping his entire person within it. That light was warm and full of vitality, like the warm spring sun, and like the source of life. Seeing this scene, Tang San's pupils shrank suddenly. Tang Hao's whole body trembled. That was Yin's spirit bone. It was one of the deepest bonds between them as husband and wife. At this moment, it was on Qin Feng's body, being used to recover from the exhaustion of battle. Yin. Looking at that familiar blue-gold light, Tang Hao seemed to see Yin's gentle smile and hear her soft call. His heart felt as if it were being torn apart, aching so much he could hardly breathe. Yin, I'm sorry. I failed to protect you, and I also failed to keep the spirit bone you left behind. Tang Hao murmured in a low voice, a trace of moisture actually appearing in his eyes, as fragile as a child. Tang San held his father's trembling hand, and a surge of bitterness also rose in his heart. Although he had no memory of his mother, that blood-connected kinship made him feel the same way. The blue-gold light lasted for about 15 minutes. Qin Feng recovered to his peak state. He stood up, stretched his limbs, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. As expected of a 100,000-year blue-silver bone, the recovery effect is not bad. These words were like a knife, stabbing into Tang Hao's heart once again. Then, Qin Feng's figure gradually faded in the air, eventually disappearing from sight. The light screen in the sky also dissipated, as if that earth-shaking battle just now had never happened. But everyone on the continent knew that some things had changed forever. A hidden valley. Tang Xiao knelt on one knee, his right arm supporting his body. Although the bleeding at the stump of his left shoulder had stopped, the intense pain still made cold sweat break out on his forehead. His face was as pale as paper, and his spirit power had plummeted from rank 96 to rank 87. This cliff-like drop made him feel an unprecedented weakness. Qin Feng. Tang Xiao gritted his teeth, a raging fire burning in his eyes. The pain of the severed arm, the humiliation of the spirit bone being taken, and the hatred of the plummeting spirit power gnawed at his heart like a poisonous snake. What pained him even more was that the seventh elder was dead. Seventh elder, I'm sorry. Tang Xiao closed his eyes, tears sliding down silently. After a long time, he reopened his eyes, only cold resolve remaining in them. I, Tang Xiao, hereby swear that no matter what price must be paid, I will take Qin Feng's life, reclaim the sect's spirit bone, and avenge the seventh elder. Tang Xiao gritted his teeth, struggled to stand up, and continued his journey in the direction of the Clear Sky sect. He knew that his current state was extremely poor and he must return to the sect as soon as possible. Moreover, Qin Feng's wild words about destroying the Clear Sky sect made him feel uneasy. Although he didn't believe Qin Feng really had the ability to destroy the sect, this boy's growth speed and strange abilities truly made one have to be on guard. I must rush back to the sect as soon as possible to discuss a countermeasure. Brother Hao, it's time to come back. Thinking of Tang Hao, a trace of complexity flashed in Tang Xiao's eyes. Back then, because of the matter with N.A.N, their father was driven to death by anger, the sect was closed off, and Tang Hao was expelled from the sect. Over the years, he had thought countless times whether there would have been a different ending if his stance had been firmer back then. Brother Hao, the Clear Sky sect needs you. Tang Xiao murmured to himself, quickening his pace. Qin Feng felt the surging lightning attribute energy within his body, a smile curling on his lips. In the battle just now, he had devoured the lightning power attached to Tang Xiao's Clear Sky hammer, and his spirit power had directly broken through to rank 50. Rank 50 was an important watershed for ordinary spirit masters. Reaching this level meant one could possess their first 10,000-year spirit ring, and their strength would undergo a qualitative leap. And for Qin Feng, the meaning was even more special. He could condense his own fifth spirit ring, and his goal was a 100,000-year spirit ring. However, he was in no hurry to condense the spirit ring. Because right now, the lightning power stored in his body was not enough. To condense a 100,000-year fifth spirit ring, he needed more and purer lightning attribute energy. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, famous for their lightning power, was undoubtedly the best choice. Yu Luomian wanted to take my spirit bone and was killed by me in return. His elder brother, Yu Yuanjun, surely won't let the matter rest either. Just as well, I'll take a trip to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Only 15 days are left in the novice protection period. Within these 15 days, I must improve my strength as much as possible to deal with various future crises. Chapter 57, Bone du Luo. Another one coming to die. Just as Qin Feng left the Stardo Great Forest, his figure suddenly paused. A strange fluctuation of spirit power came from afar, approaching at an extremely high speed. This spirit power was unlike any he had encountered before. It was cold, eerie, and elusive. Another one coming to die. Qin Feng floated up, staying midair as he waited quietly. A few breaths later, a streak of gray light galloped across the distant sky. Wherever it passed, space distorted slightly, giving off an unreal feeling. The light stopped 100 meters in front of Qin Feng, transforming into a human figure. The newcomer's face was haggard, his skin as shriveled as old tree bark, and his eye sockets were deep set like a skeleton's, with a few strands of white hair fluttering in the wind from the sides of his forehead. He was nearly 2.5 meters tall, and while not burly, his frame was large, giving him a somewhat uncoordinated appearance. This seems to be another powerhouse at the titled Duluo level. Qin Feng's eyes sharpened as he thought to himself. At the same time, a golden light lit up the sky once again. A massive light screen spanned across the horizon, reflecting the figures of Qin Feng and the haggard old man. Across the continent, countless people looked up and witnessed this scene. Inside the main hall of the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School, the teacup in Ning Fengji's hand fell to the ground with a clatter, shattering into pieces. He stared at the haggard figure on the light screen, his face instantly turning pale. Uncle Ji Yu. Chen Qin also stood up, a rare look of solemnity appearing on his usually calm face. Old Bone, how could he have run into Qin Feng at a time like this? Qin Feng just killed the blazing sun Duluo yesterday, and even Tang Xiao fled with a severed arm. Uncle Ji Yu, what Ning Fengji feared most had finally happened. Having witnessed last night's battle, he had prayed that Ji Yu Rong would return to the sect as soon as possible and not provoke that demon, Qin Feng. But at this moment, the situation was already beyond his control. Fengji, don't worry. Old Bone's methods are eccentric, his attacks sharp, and his defense powerful. Moreover, he doesn't have the power of thunder, so he won't be countered by Qin Feng. You've seen Qin Feng's strength. I hope Uncle Ji Yu remains safe. It would be best if he could kill Qin Feng. Despite saying this, Ning Fengji was still worried. He knew that Qin Feng was not easy to deal with. If Ji Yu Rong failed to kill Qin Feng, once Qin Feng grew stronger, he would surely come to the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School for revenge, and the consequences would be unimaginable. The two of them looked up at the sky, not daring to lose focus. Meanwhile, on the other side, on the playground of Shrek Academy, Ning Rongrong was doing morning training with Oscar, Dai Mubai, Zhu Zuqing, and Ma Hongjun when the sudden golden light in the sky made her instinctively look up. That's Grandpa Ji Yu. Ning Rongrong screamed out. Rongrong, what's wrong? Oscar asked hurriedly. All of them looked toward the sky screen. Rongrong, do you know that old man? That's Grandpa Ji Yu, one of our Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School's guardian Duluos, the Bone Duluo, Ji Yu Rong. Ning Rongrong's voice was trembling. Grandpa Ji Yu, why would he go looking for Qin Feng? Oscar took Ning Rongrong's hand and comforted her. Rongrong, don't worry. Grandpa Ji Yu is a titled Duluo, he'll be fine. Ning Rongrong nodded. But her body still trembled uncontrollably. She had seen everything last night, how Qin Feng killed the blazing sun Duluo and forced Tang Xiao to flee with a severed arm. Although she knew Ji Yu Rong was extremely eccentric and difficult to deal with, she was still worried. Because Qin Feng was also very mysterious, and his strength was even more unfathomable. At this moment, she could only pray silently in her heart, hoping that Ji Yu Rong would be safe. Tang Hao and Tang San were also watching the light screen. Father, who is that old man? He looks very eerie. Tang Hao frowned slightly. That is the Bone Duluo, Ji Yu Rong, one of the two guardian Duluos of the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School, a rank 95 titled Duluo. His spirit is the Bone Dragon, and he possesses bizarre spatial abilities. He is known as the titled Duluo with the most eccentric offensive methods. Spatial abilities. Tang San was shocked. In the Duluo continent, spatial abilities were extremely rare, and spirit masters with such abilities were often incredibly difficult to handle. That damn bastard has finally met his match. Although Ji Yu Rong's spirit power rank isn't as high as your uncle's, his abilities happen to counter opponents who rely on speed. However, what is it? That bastard Qin Feng is also very mysterious. No one can say for sure what other trump cards he might have. The father and son looked at the light screen, anticipating the upcoming duel. Almost everyone who saw this scene held their breath, waiting to see what would happen. On the light screen, Qin Feng looked at the haggard old man before him, a cold smile playing at the corners of his mouth. It seems you're also here to snatch the spirit bone from me. His voice wasn't loud, yet it carried clearly through the light screen to every corner of the continent. A cold light flashed in Ji Yu Rong's deep-set eye sockets. Humph. You think you're something special just because you killed a few spirit masters. That's only because you haven't met me. Today, I'll make sure you have no way to escape. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow, a look of disdain appearing on his face. No way to escape. You ignorant old dog, I'd like to see just how much you're worth. Arrogant brat, how dare you insult me? Ji Yu Rong was thoroughly enraged. He had never been insulted like this to his face, let alone by a spirit beast that had only undergone human form transformation half a month ago. His aura surged violently as Ji Yu Rong's figure twisted and deformed within the mist. In the next instant, a massive skeleton appeared out of thin air, floating in midair. Those bones were dark gray all over, with distinct joints, and the entire structure was over 10 meters long. Judging by the shape, it was a dragon skeleton. Within the dragon skeleton's eye sockets, two clumps of ghostly green flames burned fiercely, staring intently at Qin Feng. Although it was just a skeleton, it radiated a heart-palpitating pressure. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, 9 spirit rings emerged one by one, slowly rotating around the massive skeleton. When all 9 spirit rings were fully revealed, the entire battlefield seemed to be shrouded in an eerie layer of gray. Bone Dragon Spirit. Qin Feng recognized the opponent's identity. Not only was he not afraid, but a hint of excitement even flashed in his eyes. So it's the watchdog of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. After the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan and the Clear Sky Sect, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School will also face its destruction. The upper 3 sects will cease to exist. Qin Feng's voice spread across the continent through the light screen, making countless people's hearts tighten. Arrogant brat, you dare insult me repeatedly. Ji Yu Rong roared, and the massive dragon skeleton opened its bony mouth, letting out a silent howl. I will destroy you today and rid the Spirit Master's world of a demon like you. Before his voice even faded, Ji Yu Rong's figure vanished instantly. It wasn't fast movement, but a true disappearance. Even the massive dragon skeleton went with him, as if it had never existed. Qin Feng's eyes narrowed, and he used teleportation to leave. Almost as soon as he retreated, a massive bone claw appeared out of thin air at his previous position, clawing down fiercely. Space was torn apart, revealing pitch-black void cracks. Spatial abilities, indeed eerie. Qin Feng thought to himself as he quietly activated Invincible Defense. Chapter 58. Ji Yu Rong suffers a setback, even space power won't do. The bone claw strike missed and vanished once more. In the next instant, 6 bone claws appeared simultaneously above Qin Feng's head, beneath his feet, and on all sides. Each one reached out from the void, sealing off all his room to dodge. Not only that, but Qin Feng felt the surrounding space seemingly solidify a bit. This was Ji Yu Rong's 6th spirit ability, Bone Dragon Void Array. It could set up a spatial formation to interfere with the opponent's movements. Kid, die. Ji Yu Rong's raspy voice echoed from all directions, making it impossible to determine his exact location. A mere parlor trick, nothing more. Qin Feng gave a cold snort as lightning bloomed from his body. Violent purple lightning exploded outward with him at the center, instantly filling the surrounding space for dozens of meters. The lightning collided with the bone claws, producing a piercing sizzle. 3 of the bone claws were shattered by the lightning, dissipating into gray mist. However, the other 3 penetrated the lightning net and continued to claw at Qin Feng. Qin Feng surged his spirit power, condensing 3 lightning blades to slash at the 3 bone claws. Clang, clang, clang. With 3 crisp sounds, the bone claws were severed. But the severed claws did not disappear, instead, they transformed into dozens of bone spikes, shooting toward Qin Feng from different angles. At the same time, the space behind Qin Feng suddenly distorted, and Ji Yu Rong's figure silently appeared. His right hand had completely ossified, his 5-finger bones sharp as spears, stabbing directly toward the back of Qin Feng's heart. This strike was silent and extremely fast, utilizing spatial abilities to hide all fluctuations. It looked as if it was about to succeed. Yet, as if he had eyes in the back of his head, Qin Feng didn't even turn around, instead hurling a lightning ball behind him with a backhand. Boom! With a deafening roar, the lightning ball exploded. Ji Yu Rong felt a terrifying force surge through him, sending him flying backward as fine cracks appeared on his ossified right hand. How is this possible? Ji Yu Rong was shocked. With the help of spatial abilities, this strike was almost impossible to anticipate. Yet Qin Feng had not only anticipated it but had also made a precise counterattack. Your spatial abilities are indeed eerie. But before me, they're not enough. Qin Feng turned and looked at Ji Yu Rong, who was fading back into the gray mist, and mocked him ruthlessly. Having lived several lives, being 100,000-year spirit beast human form transformation, and having consumed several immortal herbs, his mental force had long since reached a realm beyond ordinary comprehension. He could capture even the slightest fluctuation of spirit power. Ji Rong panted within the gray mist. Though the cracks on his right hand weren't deep, he was profoundly shaken. This kid's perception is beyond imagination. I can't use conventional methods anymore. In a flash of thought, the fifth spirit ring on Ji Rong's body lit up. Fifth spirit ability, Bone Dragon Phantom. The gray mist churned, and from it split 5 figures identical to Ji Rong. Each one emitted the same spirit power fluctuations, and even the green flames in their eye sockets were identical. The 5 figures occupied 5 different positions, surrounding Qin Feng. A clone spirit ability. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow. The 5 figures appearing together made it difficult to distinguish truth from falsehood. They launched an attack simultaneously. Bone claws and spikes came from all directions. Qin Feng's eyes sharpened as the second spirit ring on his body lit up. Second spirit ability, Thunder Purgatory. A purple-gold lightning net expanded with him as the center, instantly covering a 100-meter radius. Within the lightning net, countless electric snakes slithered. If they touched anything, they would trigger a chain of lightning strikes. Boom. 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 3 bone dragon phantoms were caught by the lightning net and instantly detonated. However, the other 2 phantoms skillfully avoided the gaps in the lightning net and continued to close in. Of the remaining 2 phantoms, one was certainly Ji Rong's true body, while the other was a physical phantom capable of attacking. This tactic of combining the real and the illusory, paired with spatial abilities, was indeed troublesome. But Qin Feng was not at all afraid. Invincible defense gave him peace of mind, allowing him to devote himself entirely to the fight and gain combat experience. He closed his eyes, and his mental force fully expanded. In his mental perception, the spirit power fluctuations of the 2 phantoms were almost identical, but one had an extremely faint delay in its spirit power flow. That was the inevitable delay when a phantom copied the main body's movements. Found you. Qin Feng snapped his eyes open, his body shooting like lightning toward the phantom to his front left. The third spirit ring lit up. Thunder's Wrath. Qin Feng surged with lightning across his entire body as he transformed into a bolt of purple lightning, his attack power tripling. What? Ji Rong was greatly alarmed. He hadn't expected Qin Feng to see through the illusion in such a short time. In his haste, he could only swing his bone claw to meet the attack. Clang. The bone claw collided with the lightning, producing the sound of clashing metal. Purple lightning spread along the bone claw. Ji Rong felt his entire arm go numb. Such powerful lightning force. Ji Rong gritted his teeth as the 7th spirit ring on his body lit up. 7th spirit ability, Bone Dragon True Form. The gray mist churned violently as Ji Rong's figure began to distort and expand. Dense bone scales emerged on his surface, and massive bone wings sprouted from his back, turning him into an eerie half-human, half-dragon form. Roar. The bone dragon let out a roar and gave its bone wings a powerful flap. Dozens of bone spikes shot toward Qin Feng like a torrential rain, each one tearing through the air with a piercing shriek. Qin Feng advanced instead of retreating. The 4th spirit ring on his body flashed as he activated 5 thunders strike the top. The sky darkened instantly, thick with black clouds. 5 bolts of lightning descended from the heavens, each as thick as a water bucket, striking accurately at Ji Rong. As a powerhouse at the titled Duoluo level with extremely strong defense, and in front of the whole world, Ji Rong naturally would not back down easily. He instantly completed his ossification, generating a suit of hard bone armor on his body. While defending, he released a powerful pressure, attempting to restrict Qin Feng's attacks and speed. Boom. The 5 thunderbolts slammed into the bone dragon, causing the massive skeleton to shake and sway violently. This was a spirit ability close to the 100,000-year level. Ji Rong's mind was shaken. He immediately activated a spatial skill to dodge the aftershocks of 5 thunders strike the top. Damn it! Such strong lightning force. Ji Rong had suffered a setback and was filled with rage. His bone dragon armor was difficult for the attacks of ordinary titled Duoluos to penetrate. But facing Qin Feng's 5 thunders strike the top, he was forced to evade. This bastard is too weird. I can't take his lightning head on, I must use spatial abilities to maneuver. Having made up his mind, the 8th spirit ring on Ji Rong's body lit up. 8th spirit ability, Space Gate. A distorted gray vortex appeared before him, he stepped inside, and his figure vanished instantly. In the next moment, 10 meters behind Qin Feng, another space gate opened. Ji Rong rushed out from it, his bone claw aiming straight for the back of Qin Feng's neck. Qin Feng's figure flashed and disappeared from the spot instantly. Ji Rong's strike missed, but without pausing, he opened a space gate once more. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. On the battlefield, gray space gates continuously opened and closed. Ji Rong's figure shuttled rapidly through them, launching attacks from unexpected angles every time he appeared. Bone claws and spikes reached out from the void like ghosts, making them impossible to guard against. Yet Qin Feng continuously used teleportation skills, handling it with ease. Chapter 59. Bone Transformation Divine Dragon, A World of Ice and Fire. The two engaged in a high-speed spatial chase in the sky, their figures appearing and disappearing so rapidly that it was dazzling to behold. Throughout the continent, people watching the light screens held their breath. A battle of this level had already exceeded the comprehension of the vast majority of spirit masters. 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Ning Fengji stared at the light screen, feeling incredibly nervous. Uncle Gu's mastery of spatial abilities is exceptional, but Qin Feng's teleportation is no less impressive. Chen Xin said in a heavy voice. The key is that Qin Feng's lightning attacks are too strong. Old Bone seems to be struggling. If this continues, the frequent use of spatial skills will consume a lot of spirit power. Then what should we do? Wait for an opportunity. Old Bone hasn't used his 9th spirit skill yet, that is his trump card. Ning Fengji nodded slightly, understanding Chen Xin's meaning. Tilde. Shrek Academy. My god, they're too fast, my eyes can't even keep up. Yeah, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, it would really be hard to imagine. Ma Hongjun, Oscar, and the others all widened their eyes, staring intently at the light screen for fear of missing anything. Ning Rongrong no longer dared to watch. She could hardly imagine that Grandpa Ji, who was famous for his eerie attack methods, had not gained any advantage in his battle against Qin Feng. Meanwhile, on the other side, Tang Hao and Tang San were also analyzing the battle. Father, can the Bone Duluo win against Qin Feng like this? Tang Hao shook his head and sighed softly. I'm afraid it might be difficult. Qin Feng is, after all, 100,000-year spirit beast in human form transformation, and he has fused with 200,000-year spirit bones. His spirit power's depth and mental force are even stronger than I imagined. His teleportation frequency is no slower than Ji Rong's space gate, and the power of his lightning attacks is too great. If Ji Rong is hit even once, he could be severely injured. Does the Bone Duluo have no chance of winning either? Not necessarily. I've heard that his 9th spirit skill is extremely powerful and can withstand attacks below the god level. Let's see how he adapts. Tang San nodded, a hint of expectation rising in his heart. The father and son's gazes were locked on the light screen as they held their breath. On the battlefield, Ji Rong gradually realized the severity of the problem. Using the space gate continuously consumed a massive amount of spirit power. While Qin Feng seemed to be acting with ease, his teleportation frequency not decreasing in the slightest. Just what kind of monster is this kid? Does he have an inexhaustible supply of spirit power? Ji Rong cursed inwardly. He guessed that this might be related to Qin Feng's fusion with 200,000-year spirit bones. Moreover, Qin Feng had devoured a large amount of lightning power, and his spirit power reserves far exceeded those of the same level. I can't drag this out, I must end it quickly. Ji Rong made up his mind, and his 9th spirit ring finally lit up. A deep black light enveloped his body, and his aura underwent an earth-shaking change. 9th spirit skill, Bone Transformation Divine Dragon. Gray mist flooded into Ji Rong's body, and his physical form began to undergo a drastic change. Bone scales covered his body, his bones expanded and deformed, and he transformed into a complete bone dragon. This bone dragon was over 30 meters long and dark gray all over. The green flames in its eye sockets turned into a deathly grayish white. The bone dragon roared to the sky, and an invisible pressure instantly swept in all directions. Qin Feng's gaze became a bit more serious. He could feel that Ji Rong's defensive power had reached an even more terrifying level at this moment. In the Bone Transformation Divine Dragon state, Ji Rong could ignore most physical and energy attacks, only a few attacks with special attributes could cause damage. Qin Feng, die. The bone dragon spoke in a human tongue, and its massive bone tail swept across. The dragon tail, carrying a terrifying momentum that tore through space, fiercely swept toward Qin Feng. Old dog, you've finally revealed your trump card. Qin Feng didn't dodge or evade, and a brilliant golden light suddenly erupted around him. A layer of solid golden light shield instantly enveloped him. Boom. The bone dragon's massive tail slammed hard against the golden light shield, producing a deafening roar. Space shook violently, and black cracks spread out. However, the light shield only fluctuated violently. As the golden light flowed, it actually managed to withstand this strike that was enough to shatter mountains. The grayish-white flames in the bone dragon's eye sockets flickered intensely, sending out an unbelievable mental fluctuation. How is this possible? Ji Rong couldn't understand how a strike from his ninth spirit skill state could be blocked so easily. HMPH. I'll see how long you can hold out. The bone dragon roared, and gray spirit power surged wildly around it. A condensed, massive bone spike rapidly took shape in front of the dragon's head. The tip of that bone spike flickered with a cold light that could tear through anything, looking like an apocalyptic bone sword as it thrust violently toward the golden light shield. The sword-like bone spike tore through the sky, striking the light shield with a shrill whistle. Golden light and gray radiance collided and annihilated each other intensely, and the terrifying shockwave completely cleared the clouds in the high sky. The light shield fluctuated violently again, yet it remained resilient and did not dissipate, firmly protecting Qinfeng within. Unleashing 2 consecutive attacks at the level of the ninth spirit skill was a huge burden even for Ji Rong. The dim luster on the bone dragon's body weakened significantly, and its aura showed a faint, unnoticeable sign of exhaustion. A sharp light flashed in Qinfeng's eyes. He knew that maintaining the ninth spirit skill was a massive drain on Ji Rong. It was time to launch a counterattack. Qinfeng's figure vanished instantly. In the next moment, he appeared right above the bone dragon's head. Without warning, 5 bolts of wild lightning struck down from the void, merging into one and slamming onto the bone dragon's back. Roar. The bone dragon let out a painful roar, its massive skeletal body being hammered downward by the lightning. Countless bone fragments flew, and the grayish-white flames flickered uncertainly. However, its defense was truly terrifying. It managed to withstand this wave of violent lightning strikes, stabilizing itself as its dragon eyes locked onto Qinfeng. A cold arc curved at the corner of Qinfeng's mouth. Bone transformation divine dragon is nothing more than this. Before he could finish his sentence, a sudden change occurred. With Qinfeng as the center, an extremely bone-chilling aura suddenly spread out. The air made crackling sounds, and countless ice crystals condensed out of thin air. Within a radius of several hundred meters, the temperature plummeted, as if the area had instantly entered a world of ice. This is. Ji Rong was greatly alarmed. The massive bone dragon's movements visibly slowed, and its joints even became covered in white frost. He hurriedly mobilized his spirit power, gray radiance surging in an attempt to dispel the cold air. But before the cold air could retreat, another diametrically opposite force suddenly erupted. Scorching high temperatures emerged out of thin air, and the ice crystals instantly vaporized. Crimson heatwaves rolled, and the sky was reflected in a bright red. Extreme cold and extreme heat alternated and intertwined in an instant. Ice blue and crimson red energies coiled around the bone dragon's body like angry dragons. Ah! Ji Rong let out a shrill roar. One moment he felt like he was falling into an ice cave, with his bones about to freeze and crack. The next moment, it was as if he had fallen into a lava hell, and his spirit power seemed about to be ignited. This ultimate torture of a world of ice and fire made him suffer beyond endurance, and the bone dragon twisted and struggled frantically in the air. Throughout the continent, the spectators in front of the light screens were all pale with shock and dumbfounded. Chapter 60. Bone Duluo's Defeat, Severed Tail. Ning Fengji's eyes widened. Uncle Jian, what kind of power is that? Chen Qin frowned deeply and shook his head. The thing I feared most has happened. Qinfeng indeed has even more bizarre methods. Alternating between cold and heat, old bone is having a hard time. Uncle Ji, don't try to tough it out, leave quickly. Watching the situation within the light screen, Ning Fengji felt anxious. He hoped Ji Rong would quickly escape the battlefield. Even if he lost all face before the world, he had to preserve his life first. Moreover, compared to the ruthlessly killed Yu Luomian and Blazing Sun Du Luo, or Tang Xiao who severed his arm to survive, escaping unscathed would already be a stroke of luck. Tang San watched the situation in the light screen, his pupils shrinking. He knew what was going on. Dad, that's an ability Qinfeng gained after consuming the immortal herbs Fiery Apricot Jiao Shu and Octagonal Mysterious Ice Grass. It allows him to merge the extreme powers of intense heat and extreme cold into his spirit power. When unleashed, they alternate their erosion, inflicting double devastation upon the enemy's body and soul. Tang Hao's expression was grave as he slowly nodded. What a bizarre method. Ji Yu Rong is in trouble. On the battlefield, Ji Yu Rong was already in a desperate situation. Qin Feng's methods of attack were far too bizarre and unpredictable. The powers of extreme cold and extreme heat permeated everything. Maintaining the bone transformation divine dragon state, his spirit power was being consumed at a rapid pace. What chilled Ji Yu Rong's heart even more was that his strongest attack couldn't even break through Qin Feng's defense. I can't keep maintaining the ninth spirit skill, otherwise, my spirit power will surely be exhausted. Ji Yu Rong finally recognized the reality, and an unprecedented sense of crisis surged in his heart. He had to escape this battlefield as soon as possible. Face was not worth mentioning in the face of life and death. The bone dragon let out an unwilling roar to the sky, its massive skeletal wings flapping violently to shake off the ice and fire energy entangling its body. Its huge frame twisted, preparing to tear through space to escape the battlefield. Thinking of leaving. How could Qin Feng let him go so easily? A cold light burst from his eyes, and the ice blue light around him flared up as the power of extreme cold was pushed to its limit. Crack, crack, crack. Countless shards of deep blue ice spread up the bone dragon's tail at an alarming speed, freezing the back half of its body in the blink of an eye. The bone dragon struggled, and the ice layers cracked, but its speed was already greatly reduced. In that instant, Qin Feng poured his entire spirit power without reservation into his right fist. Lightning and golden light intertwined as he charged like a meteor toward the temporarily restrained bone dragon, throwing a punch at the junction of its frozen tail. Ji Yu Rong was both shocked and furious, desperately activating the space gate. A distorted spatial rift suddenly opened in front of the bone dragon's head. Boom! Qin Feng's full-strength blow smashed down ruthlessly. In the blinding explosion of light, accompanied by the sound of bones shattering and Ji Yu Rong's shrill scream, more than half of the dragon's tail, along with the ice covering it, burst apart, turning into a shower of bone fragments and ice shards. The remaining front half of the bone dragon's body scrambled into the spatial rift and vanished, leaving behind only specks of gray light and a lingering cry filled with pain and resentment echoing in the sky. The spatial rift closed. High in the sky, only Qin Feng remained suspended. His aura gradually calmed, and the phenomena of ice and fire dissipated. He looked toward the direction where Ji Yu Rong had disappeared, his gaze cold. With this blow, Ji Yu Rong had been heavily wounded. Although Ji Yu Rong escaped this time, the next time they met would be the day of his death. Qin Feng slowly descended to the ground. Then he sat cross-legged and released the blue-silver emperor right leg bone. A blue-gold light instantly enveloped his entire body, helping him quickly recover the spirit power consumed during the battle. Before the light screen, there was a dead silence. Everyone was shocked by that earth-shattering blow and the outcome of Ji Yu Rong fleeing with a severed tail. The 7 treasure-glazed tile school. A deathly silence permeated the air. All the sect disciples saw Ji Yu Rong's wretched state as he fled. They felt it was unbelievable and were also filled with panic. That was one of the sect's pillars. To actually be no match for Qin Feng and end in such a crushing defeat. Ning Fengji's face was as pale as paper. He stared blankly at the now empty sky, his body swaying slightly. Chen Qin immediately stepped forward and supported his trembling arm. Fengji. Uncle Jian. Uncle Ji Yu, he lost. Ning Fengji's voice carried an uncontrollable tremor. His usually refined and elegant face was now filled with a panic that reached deep into his bones. Qin Feng had said that the 7 treasure-glazed tile school would also face the disaster of being wiped out. Ning Fengji could almost see Qin Feng's cold figure descending over the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. Chen Xin's expression was equally heavy as he helped Ning Fengji sit down. Fengji, don't worry, Old Bone is still alive. Once he returns, we'll discuss a countermeasure together. No matter what, we will stand with the sect. Ning Fengji nodded, but he still felt a sense of powerlessness. Qin Feng was truly too terrifying, practically like a demon. Shrek Academy. Ning Rongrong's face was deathly pale, and tears fell silently. She looked at the light screen, as if she could still see the miserable sight of Ji Yu Rong fleeing with a severed tail. Dean, Grandmaster, I want to go back to the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. Grandpa Ji Yu is seriously injured, I must go back. Ning Rongrong's voice was tearful, yet exceptionally firm. Flender frowned. Rongrong, the situation is unclear right now. It's too dangerous for you to go back at this time. I know it's dangerous, but I must go back. I am also a member of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, and I must face the crisis together with the sect. Ning Rongrong wiped away her tears, her tone leaving no room for doubt. Oscar hurriedly stepped forward. Rongrong, I'll go with you. No, little Ao, this is my sect's business, it's my responsibility. You stay at the academy, it's safer here. Ning Rongrong flatly refused. Oscar had no direct grudge against Qin Feng, and she didn't want to drag him into this cruel vortex. Yu Xiaogang looked at Ning Rongrong with a complex expression. Xiao Wu had been forced to leave Shrek Academy under pressure, was killed by Qin Feng, and had her spirit bone taken. Afterward, Tang San left with his father, Tang Hao. Now, Ning Rongrong was also leaving. Of the Shrek 7 devils, only 4 remained at the academy. Half a month ago, the academy was still very lively, but now it was as if it were shrouded in haze. Flender thought it over and said, Rongrong, I'm fast. Let me take you back. Then I shall trouble the dean. Ning Rongrong bowed in thanks. Yu Xiaogang reminded her. Rongrong, go back and check first. Once you've confirmed Senior GU is safe, you can return to the academy. Okay. Ning Rongrong and Flender left together. Watching Ning Rongrong's back as it gradually blurred, Oscar felt a stabbing pain in his heart. With this departure, he didn't know when she would return, or if she would return at all. Tilde 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 tilde. Tang Hao's fists clenched until they cracked. A terrifying pressure radiated from him, and even the ground beneath his feet showed faint cracks. He stared fixedly at Qin Feng's figure, who was sitting cross-legged and enveloped in blue-gold light, his eyes burning with monstrous rage and deep-seated pain. Damned bastard. Using Yin's spirit bone again. Tang Hao's heart was filled with endless hatred and sorrow. That was originally Yin's memento, yet it had been fused into Qin Feng's body. Now, every time the light flickered, it felt like flesh was being carved from his heart, causing him unbearable pain. Tang San stood beside his father, his eyes equally bloodshot, his body trembling slightly with anger. The spirit bone left by his mother should have belonged to him. Watching Qin Feng use it to recover spirit power felt even worse than being killed. The hatred in his heart grew like wild grass, and his thirst for power reached an unprecedented peak. Dad, I will definitely kill him. I'll take back Mom's spirit bone. Chapter 61, The Upper Three Sects, Everyone for Themselves. The golden light screen in the sky dissipated. Qin Feng's figure disappeared along with it. At this moment, the atmosphere within the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan was so heavy it felt as if it could drip water. Clan head Yu Yuanjun sat in the main seat, his expression terrifyingly gloomy. Below him, the various elders were all fearing for their own safety, their faces looking unsightly. The battle within the light screen was like a bucket of ice water dousing their hopes. Yu Luomian was killed, Blazing Sun Du Luo had fallen, Tang Xiao's arm was severed, and now even the Bone Du Luo Ji Yu Rong, known for his bizarre offensive and defensive methods, had ended up with a severed tail and severe injuries. Qin Feng's strength had already reached a terrifying level that inspired despair. And his original declaration that he would surely destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan was now like a sword hanging over everyone's heads, liable to fall at any moment. Everyone. Yu Yuanjun's voice broke the dead silence, rolling through the great hall like muffled thunder. Qin Feng has become a major threat to our clan, this is now a life and death struggle. One elder said loudly. Our Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan has stood tall on the continent for centuries. How could we fear a single spirit beast in its juvenile human form transformation stage? If he wants to come, then we shall fight him and ensure he never returns. Purple lightning flashed in Yu Yuanjun's eyes, and a powerful spirit power pressure enveloped the entire area. Pass down my orders. Effective immediately, 9 Dragon Mountain is to enter a state of maximum combat readiness. All disciples are to strengthen security at all entrances and secret passages, add more overt and covert sentry posts, and triple the number of patrol teams. Every clansman, regardless of age or gender, must prepare for a battle to the death. Yes, clan head. Everyone responded in unison, their voices filled with solemn resolve. Fear still existed. But at this critical moment of life and death, the pride and courage belonging to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan were also thoroughly ignited. The entire 9 Dragon Mountain, like a sleeping beast, had awakened, baring its sharp fangs in preparation for the catastrophic storm that could descend at any time. Tilde 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 tilde. Clear Sky Sect. Tang Xiao's face was as pale as paper, and his severed arm was wrapped in thick bandages with blood still seeping through. He had just consumed a precious sacred healing medicine, and after barely stabilizing his injuries, he immediately summoned the remaining 4 elders. Elders, Qin Feng's terror is far beyond what we can imagine. You saw it too. He can suppress the seventh elder's fire attribute and even devour my lightning power. Moreover, his defense is extremely strong, even my clear sky hammer could hardly break through it. If I hadn't severed my own left arm, I'm afraid. As Tang Xiao spoke, his eyes were filled with shame. The third elder's expression was grave. Sect Master, your injury. It's fine, I won't die for now. Tang Xiao waved his hand, enduring the pain. The top priority is to strengthen all defenses of Clear Sky Peak. I suspect Qin Feng might strike the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan first, but we cannot lower our guard either. The second elder slammed the table and stood up, shouting angrily. A mere spirit beast in human form dares to be so arrogant. If he dares to come to Clear Sky Peak, we will certainly make sure he never returns. Tang Xiao shook his head, a hint of apprehension flashing in his eyes. Qin Feng is mysterious and unpredictable, with endless methods. We must prepare for the worst. If he truly comes, we must rely on the sect's great array as our foundation and not rush out to battle recklessly. The fourth elder pondered for a moment. Does the sect master mean we should temporarily avoid his sharp edge? Not avoid, but defend. Tang Xiao took a deep breath. Once my injuries have recovered and I have gathered all the strength of our Clear Sky sect, we will plan our next move. For now, pass down my orders to strengthen the outer perimeter of Clear Sky Peak. No disciple is allowed to leave the mountain without permission. Tilde 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 tilde. 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Ning Fengji sat by Ji Yu Rong's bed, the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda in his hand emitting a 7-colored light as it slowly healed the terrifying wound on Ji Yu Rong's back, helping him recover his injuries and spirit power. Sword Du Luo Chen Xin stood to the side, quietly keeping watch. After a moment, fine beads of sweat appeared on Ning Fengji's forehead. Clearly, healing Ji Yu Rong had consumed a significant amount of spirit power. Uncle Ji Yu, do you feel any better? Yes, much better. Ji Yu Rong's face was ashen, and his usual cynical demeanor was completely gone. After being severely injured by Qin Feng, he had used all his strength to rush back to the 7 treasure glazed tile school as quickly as possible. Fengji, I was reckless. Ji Yu Rong spoke with difficulty, his voice hoarse. I underestimated that kid's strength. I shouldn't have provoked him, bringing such a disaster upon the sect. Ning Fengji shook his head gently, his expression gentle yet carrying a hint of gravity. You don't need to blame yourself, Uncle Ji Yu. Qin Feng's methods are ruthless. Even if you hadn't provoked him, he likely would have come for our 7 treasure glazed tile school sooner or later. Moreover, it was our joint decision for you to go and take his spirit bone. Chen Xin said. That Qin Feng has already offended Spirit Hall and the 3 great sects thoroughly. From his slaughter of spirit masters in the Stardo Great Forest to his current severe wounding of the powerhouses from various major forces, every step reveals his ambition. This is by no means simple revenge, but has a deeper purpose. Uncle Jian, are you saying? A look of suspicion and alarm flashed in Ning Fengji's eyes. He is establishing his authority. Chen Xin said slowly. Using thunderous methods to intimidate all the forces on the continent. I just don't understand why 100,000-year spirit beast in human form would act so high profile. This brings him no benefit and will only attract more powerhouses to surround and suppress him. Unless. A sharp light flashed in Ning Fengji's eyes. He has a reason why he must do this. Regardless of his purpose, we should strengthen our guard. Ning Fengji nodded and looked at Ji Yu Rong. Uncle Ji Yu, just focus on recovering for now and don't think about anything else. Even if Qin Feng invades, Uncle Jian and I are here. Don't worry, I will recover as quickly as possible and fight alongside you. Tilde 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 tilde. By a secluded waterfall. Tang San stood shirtless in the rapid current, his hands tightly gripping the clear sky hammer. Tang Hao stood on the shore with his hands behind his back, his gaze as sharp as a hawk's. Remember, the reason the clear sky hammer is called the number 1 tool spirit in the world is not because of its indestructible weight, but because of control. Swinging 10,000 caddies of force is not hard, what is hard is making that force as easy to use as your own fingers. Smashing a rock with 1 blow is third rate, smashing a rock so that the cracks stop within an inch is second rate. Tang San gritted his teeth and swung the hammer in the water. The strong resistance of the water made every swing difficult, causing his muscles to tremble violently. Swing! Tang Hao shouted sharply. Tang San suddenly exerted force, the hammerhead breaking through the waves, but he nearly lost his grip due to overexerting himself. Stop! Tang Hao's voice was as cold and hard as an anvil. You're using brute force, not hammer intent. Feel the hammer in your hand, it is an extension of your arm, a vessel for your spirit power. Pour your spirit power into it, but don't force it, let it flow into the hammer body and become one with it. Tang-san closed his eyes to concentrate, his mysterious heaven skill inner energy and spirit power flowing slowly as he tried to delicately inject power into the clear sky hammer according to his father's guidance. This time, the hammer body vibrated slightly, emitting a low hum. Now is the moment. A sharp light flashed in Tang Hao's eyes. Swing. Chapter 62. Descending upon Nine Dragon Mountain, a massacre begins. Tang-san opened his eyes, aligned his waist and legs, and swung his hammer. There was no exaggerated sound of water breaking as before. Where the hammer's edge passed, the water flow actually parted into a brief gap, and the face of the hammer struck precisely against a reef submerged underwater. Bang! In the midst of the muffled thud, the surface of the reef cracked like a spiderweb. Tang Hao nodded slightly, a faint trace of satisfaction flickering across his face. Cracked but not shattered, the force penetrates the interior. Remember this feeling. The supreme realm of the clear sky hammer is to handle heavy weights as if they were light, condensing 10,000 caddies of force into a single strike. Little San, there isn't much time left for you. From today onwards, swing your hammer 3,000 times here every day until you can shatter the blue stone at the bottom of the water with one strike amidst the turbulent current, without causing a single ripple on the surface. Following his father's guidance, Tang-san swung his hammer desperately. Once, twice, thrice. From early morning until sunset. Suddenly, the roar of the waterfall was forcibly torn apart by another, even more grand sound. In the sky, that familiar golden light screen suddenly unfolded, spanning across the horizon and forcibly dragging everyone's gaze away from their original focus. The scene revealed in the center of the light screen caused the entire continent to fall silent instantly. It was an island surrounded by 9 mountain peaks. A figure descended like a demon god. It was none other than Qin Feng. Tang Xiao's eyes sharpened. Tang-san stopped his movements and looked up at the sky screen with his father. Dad, what place is that? That is the location of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, Nine Dragon Mountain. Nine Dragon Mountain. Qin Feng actually went to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. This is bad, teacher. Tang-san suddenly thought of his teacher, Yu Xiaoging. He knew that although his teacher had left the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, he still cared for his clan. At the same time, on the other side, at Shrek Academy, Yu Xiaoging was facing a pile of complex spirit beast theory materials on his desk, his brow furrowed as he tried to find any clues from between the lines that could counter Qin Feng. However, all theories appeared pale and weak in the face of absolute strength and bizarre abilities. He felt a deep sense of powerlessness, as if he had returned to those years when he was mocked for his spirit mutation. Just then, the light outside the window was suddenly replaced by a brilliant golden glow. Immediately after, that familiar, heart-palpitating sound appeared again. Yu Xiaoging slammed the window open and looked up. In the sky, the massive light screen unfolded, and the scene reflected within it caused the blood in his entire body to freeze instantly. Nine Dragon Mountain. Those familiar 9 dragon-shaped mountain peaks, he would never mistake them. Qin Feng's figure, like the god of death, was descending upon the clan grounds where he was born and raised, but had left in disgrace. No. A hoarse, low growl squeezed out from his throat. Yu Xiaogong's face turned as pale as paper in an instant, his body swayed uncontrollably, and he only managed to stay upright by grabbing the window frame. How can it be? So fast, how could he really go? Yu Xiaogong's voice trembled, filled with unbelievable panic. He knew Qin Feng was cruel and had declared he would destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. But in his heart, he perhaps still held a sliver of hope, thinking it was just a deterrent, or at least that it wouldn't happen so quickly and the clan would have time to prepare. But reality cruelly crushed his last illusions. Qin Feng had really appeared. That bizarre youth possessed near invincible defense and teleportation speed, as well as the ability to devour the power of lightning. Yu Xiaoging knew that Nine Dragon Mountain was destined to become a river of blood. Panic submerged him like a cold tide. Xiaoging. Flender's anxious voice came from outside the door. He had also seen the light screen and rushed over immediately. Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, Oscar, and Zhu Zuqing also gathered around with solemn expressions. Yu Xiaoging, however, seemed unable to hear their calls. His eyes were fixed deathly on the light screen. The clan, my clan, is in danger. Xiaoging, don't worry. Your father is a level 95 titled Duluo. With the Thunder Dragon array he established, its power will surely be even more terrifying. It can definitely repel or even kill that bastard Qin Feng. Flender's comfort and encouragement did not make Yu Shaogang feel better, instead, it made him feel even worse. The thunderclap hell vine grows stronger by devouring heavenly lightning, all lightning power becomes nourishment for its growth. This had already been verified in previous battles. Whether it was Yu Luomian's lightning power or the lightning power inherent in Tang Hao and Tang Xiao's clear sky hammers, all were easily devoured by Qin Feng's thunderclap hell vine. This was not a good omen. Yu Shaogang stared intently at the sky screen, hoping his father could defeat the demon Qin Feng and protect the clan. Tilde 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 tilde. The moment Qin Feng's figure appeared, that heart-palpitating pressure spread out like a physical tide. Enemy attack. The shrill alarm had only just pierced the air when Qin Feng's figure had already vanished. Teleportation. Qin Feng appeared like a ghost behind a spirit king responsible for the outer perimeter guard. A sharp lightning blade swung out, easily piercing the opponent's protective lightning light and thrusting through his heart from behind. That Spirit King didn't even have time to scream before his entire body of pure lightning spirit power, like a river bursting a dam, was greedily sucked away by the purple gold vines crazily spreading from Qin Feng's palm. Qin Feng, you're looking for death. From the direction of the main hall came Yu Yuanzhen's furious roar. 9 dragon-shaped lightning bolts soared into the sky. Qin Feng ignored Yu Yuanzhen's anger and his figure vanished again. The next second, he appeared in the middle of a spirit master squad that was assembling. Ignoring the countless lightning snakes and electric pythons that suddenly lit up around him, he spread his arms, and dozens of thunderclap hellvine tendrils shot out from his back and arms like terrifying sentient tentacles. Those vines precisely bound every blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit master. No matter how they struggled or released intense lightning strikes, that lightning not only failed to harm the vines in the slightest but instead seemed like travelers finding their home, being devoured and absorbed by the vines at an even faster speed. The purple gold patterns on the vines became increasingly bright, while the bound spirit masters withered at a visible rate, their spirit power and life essence plundered together. Help! Clan head, save! Screams and lightning explosions mixed together. The once lightning majestic 9 Dragon Mountain instantly fell into a state of panic. You damned bastard! Killing my clansmen, I will tear you into 10,000 pieces. Yu Yuanzhen's eyes were nearly splitting from rage as he transformed into his massive blue lightning tyrant dragon true form, charging forward carrying heaven-shaking angry thunder. However, Qin Feng only gave him a cold glance. Yu Yuanzhen, I heard you are the most powerful lightning attribute spirit master. In that case, bring out your most powerful move. Before Qin Feng's voice had even faded, a blue-purple lightning blade slashed out without any warning. It was a probing attack launched by Yu Yuanzhen. Qin Feng did not dodge. Invincible defense quietly activated, and a layer of golden light instantly enveloped his entire body. At the same time, the thunderclap hell vine spread out crazily. Chapter 63, World-Ending Thunder, the Doomsday of the Blue Lightning Clan. That tentative blade of blue-purple lightning slashed fiercely against the golden light barrier surrounding Qin Feng. Boom! Deafening thunder exploded, and violent lightning energy sprayed in all directions. However, that seemingly thin golden barrier remained motionless, without even a single ripple appearing on its surface. Even more terrifyingly, the moment the lightning made contact with the barrier, countless purple gold vines surged out from under Qin Feng's feet and from the void behind him. They greedily attached themselves to the surface of the golden barrier, spreading back along the trajectory of the attacking lightning and devouring it. Yu Yuanzhen's pupils constricted sharply. He could clearly feel that the lightning power he had unleashed was being sucked away and dissolved by those strange purple gold vines at an incredible speed. Those vines were like bottomless pits, appearing to be natural enemies born specifically to counter lightning. As I thought. Yu Yuanzhen's heart sank as his suspicions were confirmed. As the clan head, he would never back down. Thunder Dragon Array. The 4 elders, who had already been building up their momentum, let out a furious roar. They simultaneously possessed their spirits and unhesitatingly activated their martial soul true bodies. Roar. A world-shaking dragon roar echoed throughout 9 Dragon Mountain. 4 blue lightning tyrant dragons, slightly smaller than Yu Yuanzhen but equally imposing, raised their heads and howled. They formed an encirclement with the giant dragon transformed from Yu Yuanzhen, trapping Qin Feng in the center. 5 massive thunder dragons stood with lightning binding their bodies, their dragon prestige vast and majestic. Their auras were linked to one another. Their majestic lightning spirit power resonated and surged, forming a massive lightning force field. Even the air became saturated with violent electrical charges, letting out crackling explosions. This was the guardian battle array of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. By combining the strength of N.A.N and the four elders, the power of the lightning multiplied, making it sufficient to trap and kill a peak Duluo level expert. Strike. N.A.N raised his dragon head high and issued the command to attack. The 5 thunder dragons simultaneously spat out pillars of dragon breath lightning. 5 terrifying bolts of lightning, each over half a meter in diameter, blasted toward Qin Feng at the center from 5 different directions with an aura of total destruction. Space itself distorted wherever the lightning pillars passed. Facing this combined attack that would make even a peak Duluo turn pale, Qin Feng merely tilted his head slightly, a hint of pleasure flashing in his eyes. Not only did he show no intention of dodging, but he even spread his arms wide as if to embrace the destructive lightning. Good timing. The golden barrier shone brilliantly, enduring the direct impact of the 5 lightning pillars head-on. Rumble. An explosion several times more violent than before occurred. Blinding lightning completely swallowed Qin Feng's figure. A violent shockwave of energy exploded outward in a ring, leveling every building, tree, and rock within a radius of several hundred meters. Several nearby mountain peaks shook violently, sending countless boulders tumbling down. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon disciples standing closer, even with the protection of elders at the Spirit Saint level, felt their blood and chi churn from the shock, and blood seeped from their ears and noses. N.A.N and the 4 elders stared fixedly at the center of the explosion, their dragon eyes filled with tension and anticipation. This strike condensed the power of the 5 of them and was amplified by the battle array. It was enough to kill a rank 97 peak Duluo. The lightning gradually dissipated. When they saw the scene at the center, the hearts of all the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clansmen sank completely into an icy abyss. Qin Feng was still standing in midair. The golden barrier remained stable, its surface flowing with countless fine sparks of lightning snakes left over after being devoured. What was even more despair-inducing was that the thunderclap hell vines, now several times more numerous and thicker than before, were currently spreading out from the surface of the barrier like reveling demonic snakes. They writhed and coiled, greedily devouring the violent lightning power that had not yet dissipated in the air, as well as the power that was still being continuously drawn from the 5 thunder dragons by the battle array. The purple-gold patterns on the vines were blindingly bright. Qin Feng's aura, instead of weakening from enduring such a heavy blow, was actually climbing at a rate visible to the naked eye. This is impossible. One elder let out a roar of shock and fury, his dragon eyes filled with disbelief. There's something strange about his defense. We can't use pure long-range lightning attacks anymore. Get close. Use the physical power of the dragon race to tear him apart. N.A.N shouted. With a swing of his dragon tail, his massive dragon body took the lead in charging toward Qin Feng with a sonic boom that tore through the air. Highly compressed power condensed on his dragon claws as he struck fiercely at the golden barrier. The other 4 elders immediately understood and lunged from different directions. Their dragon claws carried terrifying physical force as they launched a storm-like melee assault on Qin Feng. Teleportation. Qin Feng's figure suddenly vanished from his original spot. The fierce combined strike of the 5 thunder dragons instantly hit nothing but air. Their fearsome forces collided with each other, triggering a chaotic storm of energy. A second later, Qin Feng's figure appeared outside the battle array. He looked down at the 5 thunder dragons, who were slightly disorganized after their attack missed, and prepared to launch a counterattack. Violent lightning power frantically gathered and compressed around him. The sky suddenly darkened, as if the very weather was undergoing a mutation. A terrifying lightning sphere over 2 meters in diameter, composed entirely of purple-gold destructive lightning, took shape. It emitted destructive ripples that caused the world to change color. I'm giving that lightning back to you. Qin Feng's voice spread throughout 9 Dragon Mountain. Before his voice had even faded, he slammed both palms downward. The massive purple-gold lightning sphere did not simply drop, instead, it exploded violently, transforming into countless lightning pillars. Like spears of divine punishment, they rained down in a saturation strike. The attack range not only covered the area where the 5 elders were but also encompassed the hundreds of elite Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon spirit masters below who were forming arrays and trying to support the clan head with their spirit power. Oh no! Scatter! Defend! N.A.N roared in horror. He had never felt lightning so condensed, so violent, and carrying such a strange devouring attribute. This was essentially their own power, which, after being converted by that monster, had become an even more terrifying weapon to attack them. Thunder Dragon Protection. The four elders and the spirit masters below were filled with terror. They one after another used their strongest defensive spirit abilities, weaving together a sheet of lightning. However, all of this appeared so fragile in the face of Qin Feng's violent attack. Boom! 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 A world-ending baptism of lightning descended. Blinding lightning submerged the earth, and terrifying explosions merged into one, as if N.A.N. Mountain had met its doomsday. The defenses of those blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit masters were easily torn apart. Their bodies were charred, shattered, and vaporized in the violent lightning. Their screams were drowned out by the thunder. As the lightning slightly subsided, smoke and dust filled the air. A massive, charred deep pit appeared in the area where the 5 dragons had previously been. The thunder dragon that one of the elders had transformed into had vanished, leaving only a nearly carbonized, mangled corpse in its place. Around the deep pit, corpses littered the ground. Hundreds of elite spirit masters had been wiped out in this single strike. The thick smell of blood and the scent of charred flesh mixed together, making one want to vomit. The entirety of N.A.N. Mountain was deathly silent. Chapter 64, The Fifth Spirit Ring, 100,000 Year. Qin Feng stood in midair, his eyes slightly closed. Inside his body, the massive amount of lightning power, which had been initially refined and purified by the thunderclap hell vine after being devoured, surged like a rushing river, madly crashing through his limbs and bones. He could clearly feel his spirit power skyrocketing, and the feedback from the thunderclap hell vine had reached a critical point. It's about time. Qin Feng opened his eyes, a purple-gold flash of lightning flickering deep within them. It's time to condense the fifth spirit ring. He coldly glanced at the tragic, hellish scene below. Yuanjun and the other 3 elders looked at Qin Feng, their eyes filled with hatred. Qin Feng knew that this was not yet their strongest combat power. Yuanjun held a family secret treasure, the 9 dragon true crown. Those were dragon bone fragments. With the enhancement of the 9 dragon true crown, Yuanjun's 7th, 8th, and 9th spirit rings could reach 99,999 years, and his spirit abilities would possess the power of a 100,000-year ring. In the battle against Tang Xiao, Qin Feng had devoured a significant amount of lightning power from the clear sky hammer. Now, after the great battle at 9 Dragon Mountain against Yuanjun and the 5 elders, having killed a spirit Duluo level elder and hundreds of blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit masters, he had devoured their lightning power. The lightning power stored in his body was enough to condense a 100,000-year spirit ring. A few hours later, when he descended upon 9 Dragon Mountain again and forced Yuanjun to use his trump card, devouring their lightning power wildly, he might be able to continue condensing the next spirit ring. The lightning of the blue lightning tyrant dragon clan tastes acceptable. Qin Feng's voice wasn't loud, yet it clearly reached the ears of every survivor. This battle ends here for now, enjoy your final moments. After saying that, before Yuanjun and the others could react, Qin Feng's figure used teleportation again, vanishing into thin air above 9 Dragon Mountain, leaving behind only devastated ground and countless despairing eyes. He's gone. An elder muttered in disbelief, followed by an outburst of survivors' roars mixed with endless grief and indignation. That demon. He slaughtered our clansmen and just ran away like that. No, he will return. Yuanjun growled. He maintained his dragonized form, his chest heaving violently as he stared fixedly at the spot where Qin Feng had vanished. In his dragon eyes, besides hatred, there was more of a deep doubt and unease. His aura just now was still very powerful. After devouring so much of our lightning power, he suddenly retreated. Could it be for? A terrifying thought surfaced in Yuanjun's mind, making his entire body go cold. He knew Qin Feng would not let things go so easily. The brief calm was merely the prelude to the coming storm. Qin Feng was a spirit beast human form transformation. Unlike human spirit masters, he didn't need to hunt spirit beasts and could condense spirit rings on his own. Judging from the previous instances of Qin Feng appearing in the light screen, Yuanjun guessed that Qin Feng might have already accumulated enough lightning power and retreated temporarily to condense his 5th spirit ring. Qin Feng's first 3 spirit rings were all at the 10,000-year level. The 4th spirit ring was black with a hint of red, reaching near the 100,000-year level. That 4th spirit ability was immensely powerful and extremely destructive. To what extent could his 5th spirit ring reach? What kind of power would its spirit ability have? Yuanjun didn't dare to imagine. If that was truly the case, then his so-called ends here for now. Yu Yuanjun suddenly looked up at the gradually dissipating golden light screen in the sky, a chill colder and more desperate than before, instantly freezing his heart. This was not the end, but rather a brief interval before an even more terrifying storm. That demon would return, with even greater power. All clansmen, assemble on the training grounds, quickly. Yu Yuanjun's voice was hoarse and urgent, carrying a hint of trembling that even he hadn't noticed. Hearing this, the surviving clansmen all set off and rushed to the training grounds. At this moment, throughout the Duluo continent, people who had witnessed everything through the light screen also fell into a deathly silence. Shrek Academy. Yu Xiaogong's face was pale as he stumbled backward. Had Flender not supported him, he would have almost collapsed to the ground. He looked at the tragic state of his clan in the light screen, the miserable deaths of the elders and clansmen, and Qin Feng's meaningful words before leaving. Qin Feng, that demon. Yu Xiaogong repeated absent-mindedly, as endless panic and despair completely swallowed him. He understood that Qin Feng's retreat this time was by no means due to fear or exhaustion. A more terrifying and thorough destruction was silently brewing. The fate of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, and even the power structure of the entire continent, would face unpredictable and drastic changes. In the mountain forest, Tang San gripped the clear sky hammer tightly, his knuckles turning white. Tang Hao's brows were furrowed, his expression solemn. Qin Feng going on a killing spree in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan was within their expectations. But who could stop him? His defense was indestructible, and he had the speed of teleportation. His thunderclap Hell Vine could even devour all lightning power, possessing a natural suppression against lightning attribute spirit masters. In front of such a demon, the attacks of those lightning attribute spirit masters would only become his nourishment. Teacher, are you okay? Even across the light screen, Tang San could feel Yu Xiaogong's pain. Both father and son understood that Qin Feng had only left temporarily. He would definitely kill his way back. Tilde. Inside the seven treasure glazed tile school, Ning Fengji, Chen Xin, and Ji Yurong looked at each other in silence, seeing the shock in each other's eyes. What they feared most had still happened. Qin Feng had attacked 9 Dragon Mountain so quickly. Moreover, even facing the combined attacks of clan head Yu Yuanjun and the 4 elders, Qin Feng appeared to handle it with ease, effortlessly killing an elder and hundreds of Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit Masters. How terrifying was this combat power? When Qin Feng returned again, how would Yu Yuanjun and his clansmen face him? Ning Fengji thought of his own clan. If Qin Feng descended upon them, how would they face him? Spirit City, in front of the Supreme Pontiff Palace. Bibi Dong witnessed the battle in the light screen with mixed emotions. Seeing an elder and hundreds of spirit masters from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan die miserably, and seeing the panic of those people, she felt extremely satisfied internally, but at the same time, she worried about Yu Xiaogong. She had long wanted to destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan to make them pay for humiliating Yu Xiaogong. She knew that Yu Xiaogong must have also seen that hellish scene. Xiaogong, you must be in a lot of pain, but those people truly deserve to die. Qin Feng, will he hurt Xiaogong? At this thought, Bibi Dong's face became distorted. No, I won't allow anyone to hurt Xiaogong. Even you, Qin Feng, cannot. 2 hours later. Qin Feng woke up from condensing his spirit ring and slowly opened his eyes. Feeling the changes in himself, a hint of joy appeared on his face. The purple gold thunderclap Hell Vine was released uncontrollably. Black, dark red, 5 spirit rings unfolded around him in sequence. The 5th spirit ring, 100,000 year. Chapter 65. Feel the pain, Divine Thunder Heavenly Conquest. The massive power of lightning not only allowed Qin Feng to condense a 100,000-year spirit ring but also enabled his 5 Thunder Correct Law to achieve a breakthrough. The 4th layer, Thunder True Astral Chi, cultivation complete. The 5 elements Thunder Chi, Spirit Power, and innate One Chi within his body completely merged, qualitatively transforming into a higher level of energy, Thunder True Astral Chi. Qin Feng lightly clenched his fist, feeling the new, majestic power within his body. It was no longer simple spirit power or Thunder Chi, but an energy crystallization that fused the intent of 5 elements Thunder, the origin of spirit power, and the essence of innate One Chi, containing terrifying power capable of splitting mountains and severing seas. With a slight thought, a layer of thunder astral armor, flowing with 5-colored light, thin as a cicada's wing yet indestructible, instantly covered his entire body. The surrounding air was faintly repelled away. He held his fingers together like a sword and swung casually, a highly condensed beam of thunder astral sword chi, containing the intent of the five elements birth and destruction, swept out silently. In the distance, a mountain rock dozens of meters high was suddenly split down the middle, the cut as smooth as a mirror. Five elements rotation, lightning is astral chi, not bad. Qin Feng nodded with satisfaction. What pleased him even more was that at this moment, even without actively driving the thunderclap Hellvine, his body seemed to have established a resonance with the lightning energy of heaven and earth, remaining in a low consumption state of lightning activation at all times. His speed, reactions, and perception had all been comprehensively enhanced. The condensed 100,000-year fifth spirit ring not only brought a huge leap in spirit power but also granted him two powerful 100,000-year spirit abilities. One is the Thunder Dao body. By consuming Thunder True Astral Chi, he can condense a Thunder clone that is mentally linked to the main body, possessing 80% of the main body's attributes and all its spirit abilities. The clone lacks wisdom. Under the control of the main body, it possesses independent combat capabilities and persists until its energy is exhausted or it is defeated. What's even more terrifying is that when the clone collapses, it turns into a five elements divine thunder explosion covering a vast range, with startling power. The other spirit ability is the Thunder Astral Sword. Combining the extreme destructive power and sharpness of Thunder True Astral Chi, it can condense physical sword chi with different five elements characteristics. It can be used for single-shot precision kills, or like a torrential downpour, and can even be used to set up a continuous Thunder Astral Sword array. Trapping and killing enemies, its power is peerless. Qin Feng looked up toward Nine Dragon Mountain, his gaze as cold as a 10,000-year icy abyss. N.A.N, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, it's time to settle this once and for all. Your lightning will only serve as a stepping stone for me to ascend to a higher realm. Qin Feng took a step forward, his figure merging into the lightning as he used teleportation toward Nine Dragon Mountain. The massive golden light screen stretching across the sky, after being silent for 2 hours, suddenly unfolded again. It was even more brilliant than before, like the eye of heaven about to gaze upon the mortal world once more. Across the entire Duluo continent, no matter where they were or what they were doing, everyone was captivated by this suddenly reappearing light screen. It's back again. The sky screen has appeared again. This time, where will it be? Could it be? The same terrifying guess surfaced in the hearts of countless people. Shrek Academy. Yu Shaogang suddenly snapped out of his daze, rushed out of his room, and stared at the sky. A terrifying thought instantly surfaced in his mind, and his body trembled uncontrollably. That devil, he's back again. At the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School, Ning Fengji stood up abruptly. Chen Xin and Ji Yurong flashed to his side at the same time, their expressions grim. Only 2 hours have passed, and Qin Feng has appeared again. Where will it be this time? Could it be Nine Dragon Mountain again? In front of the Supreme Pontiff Palace. Bibi Dong gripped the scepter in her hand and looked up at the light screen in the sky. She vaguely guessed that what would be shown next would still be Nine Dragon Mountain, where the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan was located. Is Qin Feng back so soon? N.A.N, you won't be able to hide, haha. Shaogang, he shouldn't be with the clan. In the mountain forest. Tang San and Tang Hao held their breath simultaneously. That bastard Qin Feng is going to appear again. Yes. With your mother's right leg bone, the speed at which his spirit power recovers has greatly increased. Tang San gnashed his teeth and clenched his fists. He secretly guessed in his heart that the place where Qin Feng would appear this time should still be Nine Dragon Mountain. Nine Dragon Mountain, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan Training Ground. All the survivors, whether they were injured clansmen, grief-stricken elders, or N.A.N who was forcing himself to remain calm, felt their hearts stop the moment the light screen unfolded. A bone-chilling cold of despair rushed from the soles of their feet straight to the crowns of their heads. He's coming back. An injured person's voice trembled as they spoke the answer everyone feared most in their hearts. N.A.N's eyes widened, and he let out a roar toward the sky. Prepare for battle. All clansmen above the level of Spirit Saint, form the True Dragon Battle Array. Activate the Clan Protection Array. N.A.N's voice was like a thunderclap, jolting awake the clansmen shrouded in fear. On the training ground, all the Spirit Saint and Spirit du Luo experts suppressed their grief and fear, quickly taking their positions according to specific orientations and linking their spirit power. Phantoms of blue lightning tyrant dragons appeared behind them, faintly forming a larger, more solid phantom of a lightning dragon that guarded the entire training ground. Yuanjun soared into the air, his gaze sweeping over the 9 mountain peaks where the clan was located, his eyes revealing a look of determination. He was prepared to fight to the death, even to perish together with the enemy. Just as the blue lightning tyrant dragon clan was facing a great enemy and the entire continent was holding its breath, the scene within the light screen finally became clear. It was still that 9 Dragon Mountain with scorched earth everywhere and broken walls. But this time, the image was not an overlook from outside the mountain, but appeared directly above the training ground. A solitary, cold, and indifferent figure seemed to step out from the void, floating quietly there. It was precisely Qin Feng. There was no world-shaking aura radiating from around his body, he even appeared somewhat calm. But those 5 slowly rhythmic spirit rings, black, 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 dark red, and red, were like a heavy hammer, ruthlessly smashing into the hearts of all the viewers. 100,000-year spirit ring. Countless people cried out in shock, unable to believe it. Immediately afterward, an even more shocking scene appeared. The layer of thunder astral armor on Qin Feng's body, flowing with 5-colored light, was clearly visible in the light screen. Although thin as light gauze, it gave people a sense of being immune to all techniques and indestructible. The 5 elements rotating, endless and ceaseless. His aura has completely changed. He's even stronger than before he left. So terrifying. This time, the blue lightning tyrant dragon clan is probably really going to face the disaster of extermination. The entire continent fell into a deeper dead silence and horror. Even a powerhouse like Bibi Dong felt her heart sway as she saw the scene in the light screen at this moment. On the blue lightning tyrant dragon clan's training ground, the clansmen who had just gathered a sliver of fighting intent felt as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over them from head to toe. The bone-chilling cold made them feel panic. That blood-red 100,000-year spirit ring and the eerie thunder astral protection crushed their will to resist into powder. In the light screen, Qin Feng's gaze turned toward the blue lightning tyrant dragon members below, who were waiting in formation but could not hide their alarm. I said I would be back. Proactively surrender your lightning power, and I will leave you with whole corpses. Qin Feng's voice was as cold as a knife, making everyone outside the light screen shudder.